Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to WSSR on your Wednesday night. It's time for us to give you this racing action at Bristol. It's crazy to say we're at race number 8 as we're at the last great Coliseum. We're excited to give you all the coverage here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Tons of drivers are ready to race here this evening. We got over 35 plus drivers that have registered up, and that means it could be a chaotic night. We have seen with this new update that iRacing has given to the next gens, it's all about clean air, it's all about finding spacing, and how well can you keep this car under control underneath you. We'll find out all of our answers here tonight on who can get it done at Bristol, as we are proud to give you all the coverage here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me this evening, have to say he's back in the booth. We've got Richard Wolsifer with us. Richard, it's been a while, but man, we are excited to have you back in the booth, and what a track to be back at. It's Bristol.
Yeah, it's good to be back up here in the booth calling these drivers tonight. And yeah, like you said, at the last great Coliseum, Bristol Motor Speedway, the half-mile, high-bank, fast track. These drivers have got to tame this concrete surface, got to protect these tires. And yeah, this new update, we will be able to see what this track will be able to do and how these drivers can perform, because dirty air is exactly that now, dirty air. It makes these cars act very different than what we saw a few weeks ago before the new update hit. So it's going to be great to see how it affects the cars here at this short track. The intermediates we've been experiencing have been very fun and very interesting with the new aero package these cars have. So let's get to seeing what these high banks of Bristol can do.
It certainly has been fun, and we've been seeing a lot of these drivers going around picking where they feel like the speed is going to be helping them. The last few weeks we had Las Vegas, Darlington, and it has been seen nightmare fuel teammates been getting into victory lane, with Vincent Sora getting into victory lane once. John Forbes has been in there a couple of times this season, but last week Thomas Green able to finally get into victory lane. It's been a while for that 31 machine to get it done, and with a scheme that's very much close to his heart, as he's running a breast cancer awareness machine, honoring his mom, and able to get into victory lane last week at Las Vegas. A lot of gambles, a lot of frustration, and I'm curious if that's going to carry over into tonight. We saw with the fact of last week, drivers were having such problems with the dirty air. They were having to make more aggressive moves than they traditionally would make before, and coming to a short track where, like you said, Richard, it's all about finding the clean air. It might come down to a little bump here or there that could get you the position you're looking for.
Yeah, and I think that the frustrations from last week will definitely boil over into the race today, because this track produces a ton of frustration with everybody. It's really hard to pass. Like, overall, it's not the easiest place to pass people, and you got to find the right lane to be able to protect those tires as well, because you don't want to ruin those tires trying to take forever to pass somebody on one lane, and then you're not going to have the tires to maintain that position later. So, I mean, the frustrations are definitely going to boil over. You're probably going to have to use the chrome horn, as we call it, the front bumper, to move someone out of your way. But the biggest thing is now the drivers, we had the update where the tire temperatures and the track temperatures really started to affect how the cars reacted. Now, besides looking around for colder parts of the track, these drivers got to look around for cleaner air as well. If you've got to split two cars to get some clean air on your nose to get that car to turn, you're going to have to do it. So these drivers are going to have to be searching around the entire track to find where they can get some speed to get the run to be able to make the passes they need to move forward tonight.
Talking about speed, so far your top 5 fastest drivers on track based off of practice at this moment. Drew Jewell on the 77 with a 14.337 second time for himself. I know some of these drivers have been having fun here tonight. I'm not sure if that's a wall riding time or not, but also we've got Seth Knoll, second fastest in the 88. Was third. I think a surprising driver to see there, but a driver who feels very confident whenever we come to Bristol. Cody Reed in the 25, he's third fastest. But Thomas Green going to be fourth fastest, and Nick Crawford fifth fastest. As we take a quick look at the point standings entering tonight, it has been, like I said, a lot of nightmare fuel up there, but there's one driver sneaking in between in our top 3. Gavin Rogers, he's been trying to come off a rough couple of weeks where he felt like he could have gotten into victory lane, honestly, almost every race this season, yet to find that luck he's looking for. And then in fourth, got Ryan Kelly and Thomas, going to be Jared Talmadge, going to be in fifth for himself. But Richard, I got to say, this is certainly going to be an interesting rest of the regular season, as this is race 8 of our regular season. And we've got ourselves 4 more races after tonight to figure out who will be in our top 16 before playoffs.
Yeah, like you were talking about Gavin Rogers there. He's sitting pretty nice in second place in points. He's had a lot of really, really good races. And actually, he's probably had the best races throughout the entire league. He's the only driver in the top 10 that has had, a top 10 finish in every single race to this point. So he has had a very, very consistent season, but it just feels like every single race a win is slipping away from him. But I mean, yeah, it is a really close battle for that 16th final position, trying to get into that playoffs, because all these drivers need is a win and then points as well. So it's really coming down to the end there. Douglas Newbegin kind of sitting there tied for 16th with Brian P. Johnson as well. So it's a close battle for these guys trying to get into that top 16 so they can make sure they're in a chance for the championship in the playoffs.
We'll take a closer look at the top 16 in points once we get to the warm-ups, but we are about to be entering into qualifying. And let's take a closer look at how this stage is setting up as we're heading here at Bristol. Very short track, only a half mile in distance, and some say it's the fastest half-mile course. It is going to be a very quick, high bank corners atmosphere these drivers have for themselves. But the big thing of note, track temp, air temp. It's in the medium range, you would say, where drivers are going to have a lot of grip to work with the air temperature being at 84 Fahrenheit, track temp at 87. Wind is going to be on the lower end, around that 3 miles per hour window. But the race details, tonight's race, 225 laps, stage much later than what we've seen for our bigger courses. Our stage break will be at lap 65, and drivers will have a total of 5 sets of tires to work with, 4 sets in pit road, and 1 that they start out the race on. Richard, the stage is setting as we're getting ready for qualifying. I'm excited for what we're going to see here for Bristol, but it all starts with qualifying, and based off the amount we've talked about track, about how the air is going to be influencing track position, going to be really important as we are underway with Jared Talmadge being our first driver to watch.
Yeah, track position is going to be huge here at Bristol. These guys do not want to be back in the middle of the field the best that they possibly can, because that's typically at Bristol where the majority of the chaos tends to start. You have a lot of faster guys that might not have a great qualifying session that are going to try to rush their way up to the front, taking a lot of situations 3 wide or pinching cars that, they wouldn't normally be around. But right around with Jarrett Talmadge right now, who was able to put down the second fastest lap as he's done qualifying with a 14.64. But Cody DiCarlo still on top with a 14.634, so a fantastic run for Colby. And let's see if who else can be putting down some laps to get as we ride along now with Chris Stitz.
We got 13 drivers that have put down a lap so far, as Chris Stitz is going to be putting himself into a parks position. Both laps invalidated, so the 17 will be starting in the back half of the field, waiting on who else will decide to put a time in. Talked about how the weather could be a slight influence. It's not too hot, it's not too cold, it's kind of in that good medium range. And some drivers might be waiting for the perfect time to go out, so they're waiting until the very last moment. Here's going to be Brian Noel in the 00 Lucky Ducks machine, hoping to find himself some good speed here this evening as the 00's first lap underway and sticking to the high line. Talked to some of the drivers entering this evening. They said the outside seems to be where a lot of the quick pace is, but it's not where you want to stay all race long. You're going to want to come to the inside of the road to save some tires at certain points of this race, but when you go down there, you got to make sure you've got space to work with. Brian Noel's first lap, a 14.9, going to be crossing the line for himself. For the second go around, it's actually going to be a 14.7, good enough for 8th place for Noel. Here's going to be Seth Knoll in the 88 machine, looking like one of the faster drivers throughout practice. We'll see if that carries over here for qualifying as that Dr. Pepper machine gets ready to rip and roll as he crosses the line.
Yeah, one different thing that we're noticing here at Bristol that we didn't notice at Las Vegas is it seems like at the intermediates with this new tire model and aero set, these drivers typically have their first lap as the fastest, but here at Bristol, because of such a short track, it takes a whole lap for these cars to wind up. So their fastest lap's going to be the second one as we still ride along here with Seth Noel as he put down a 14.9 for his first lap. Second lap is going to be the top of the board, a 14.583. Seth Noel currently on the pole.
Drift and all, he could have found a little bit more extra pace, but that big slide docking him slightly, and we'll see if that 14.583 holds up for himself. Is going to be Tanner Bethea first lap, going to be a 14.631 already. Challenging for the pole time is the 78. Here's going to be Brian McCann, who's had a couple of sneaky good qualifying runs here recently for himself. Hoping to top the board if possible for the 8 machine. I got to say, that sneaky speed by the 78, that was impressive to see, as it looks like Lucky Ducks wants to sweep the front row so far, as majority of the rest of the field now getting ready for their first laps to clock in. But lap number 2 for Brian, going to be Brian McCann. Will he get any faster? Doesn't look like it will be. He'll stay down in 26th position, as Larry Yingling's first lap going to be good enough for 4th place. And here's Zach Hall, our season 9 champion. What will he find here for speed for the 32? Honestly, with the new updates come out, Zach has already stated he is not feeling too comfortable with this machine. He's hoping to find something, though, a little bit special here this evening.
Yeah, he's been lacking a little bit of speed at times, but he's been showing a little bit better than he had last season when he was the number 1 back into number 32 this season, though, as the number 4 of Colin Carroll spinning sideways. Looked like you're done with his qualifying. It's going to invalidate that lap if he didn't complete it himself. But Larry Yingling able to get up to 4th place with that 14.6, but Seth Noel still sitting pretty nice in that pole position. His drivers are pretty much close to being done with all their qualifying.
And that qualifying will come to a close. It's going to be the 88 of Seth Knoll, who's going to be top of the board for himself. What a time for Seth. Was curious on when is he going to find himself into victory lane. Haven't seen the 88. He's been up front, but the situations, the timing, some of the green flag pit stops just haven't worked out for the 88. We'll see if it changes up as we are into our warm-up period. Drivers have 5 minutes to get any last-minute practice time in, as well as us take a deeper look of how the season's been so far. Talk about, hey, let's take a deeper look at that cutoff spot for the standings. Well, here's some of the drivers and where they line up currently. We've got a tie for that cutoff spot currently, and that is with Brian P. Johnson and Douglas Newbigging, the drivers that are 16th and 17th in points. They are tied currently. Outside looking in, Samuel Garcia, he's been finding some good speed recently. GT Rosario with some bad luck, but the biggest mover of points after last week's race, Ollie Fonseca, 20th in points. It looks like Ollie's trying to make this late surge to try to make the playoffs if he can have a good continuous run here for this race and the next 4 after this week.
Yeah, Ollie Fonseca's been having some really good races this season, making a late season charge. He wants to try to get into that playoffs. He wants a chance at the championship. And the best part is like a win can definitely put you in, like that'll lock you into the playoffs. So he's still trying to chase that win to lock himself in. But right now he's got to chase himself into the points. Another driver up there looking for the points to get in, Christopher Norris, who's been having a rough season as well. He got parked 1 race for intentional wrecking, but still sitting in the 23rd position. What really helped was his 3rd place finish at the Road America, I believe it was. So fantastic work from him, still sitting 23rd even with that 1 park for the season.
Yeah, that race was at Portland a few weeks before our break, and yeah, that's been a good run. Zach Hall also going to be right in front of Christopher Norris. That's a shocker to see where he's running. Cody Reed, he's hoping to have a good surge as well. The drivers, we got to keep our eyes on. It's been a fun season so far. First half of the regular season is done and dusted, and we've seen a lot of different pole sitters. That has been the fun thing to see, kind of the ebbs and flows of who can find the quick 1-lap pace. The winners have been pretty consistent, with only 2 drivers that are not a part of Nightmare Fuel getting into victory lane. That was at the start of the season, with Joshua Kanata winning at Atlanta Super Speedway, and then seeing Rockingham won by Ryan Kelly. Since then, it's been the John Force, Vincent Sora, and Thomas Green show, with Jared Talmadge getting a lot of laps led for himself, and seeing a lot of competition, trying to figure out how to kind of knock down this team that's been so dominant. But I think we've got a chance here with these upcoming racetracks. We got tonight at Bristol, Michigan, the Roval coming up with North Wilkesboro, and finishing off the regular season at Talladega. There's some times and opportunities for drivers to steal some wins or just get some good finishes, and certainly excited for how it's going to go down. As we got 2 minutes left in the warm-ups, this is our time that we have our pick'ems. Who are drivers we feel like are storyline drivers those that we feel like can get into victory lane. These are some of those that we feel like you should keep your eye on. Tonight's race is going to be a tough one for the drivers up front, but also for those in the back. We hear drivers always talk about how they want to find quicker pace, but one driver we've been seeing their journey on how they've been growing. Talked to them before the race. Ben Keeney challenged me, said, I want you to pick me. Put me as your driver to watch out for, so I will pick you, Ben. You are going to be my driver here tonight. He finds himself in the later half in the points, in the deep 30s. He's looking for a pick-me-up type of a race. It's a tough racetrack here tonight, but if there's a lot of trouble in front of him, he might steal a couple of spots. We'll see if Ben get one of his better career finishes here in the WSSR VRS Cup Series. But Richard, who do you have a driver to watch out for here tonight?
I'm going to have to go with Vincent Sora, the current points leader. He has been behind his teammate in multiple races, following John Forbes to victory lane race after race. I think tonight he's going to be able to find the speed, get around Mr. Forbes himself, and get that win that he's been wanting to grab from his teammate for quite a few races in a row.
Open grab and be another multi-time winner this season. And our third member of our group, that's Robert Moyer Jr. running production in the background. And he's going to go with the 31 of Thomas Green. Going to go hoping for the back-to-back wins for the 31. We'll see if he's got the magic here tonight as we are coming to a close here in our warm-ups. We've got ourselves a Bristol race that will be 225 laps. It's going to be a long one. Stage break at the end of lap 65. No fast repairs, 4 extra sets of tires and pit road to work with. It's going to be a fun one. We hope you're able to enjoy the show and stick around for the whole thing. If you're out there watching, chat, who is your favorite driver to watch out for? Who do you feel like is one to watch out for victory lane? Can't wait to see how your favorite drivers compete here this evening. We also want to say thank you to our major sponsors for the WSSR VRS Cup Series. I want to say thank you to the title sponsor of VRS. That's your virtual racing school. I also want to say thank you to GTR Simulators, Trophy Smack, Sim Precision Prints, and our camera providers here for Freaky Fast Broadcasting, Whiplash Simcams, who is our biggest mover of the day sponsor. Thank you to everyone that's helped out to make Season 11 the way that it is. The warm-up is finished up. Qualifying's out of the way. Practice is finished as well. That means all that's left is 225 laps of Bristol racing action. The virtual fans are ready, and so are we. Let's take a look at our starting grid here this evening. Taking the top spot, it's going to be Lucky Duck Motorsports with Seth Knoll, top of the board with going to be Tanner Bethea in the 78. Behind them is going to be Colby DiCarlo in the 22 with Larry Yingling in 4th. 5th, we find Jarrett Talmadge and Vincent Sora. There's the Nightmare Fuel drivers. Behind them, we find Ryan Kelly, Zach Hall with a great qualifying run, Thomas Green, our winner from last week, and Douglas Newbigging finishing out the top 10.
Starting 11th is Ali Fonseca, like I said, having a late season charge, doing a great lap starting 11th tonight. Benazzi Major starting in 12th position on his outside. Nick Crawford will be starting 13th with Drew Jewett to his outside in 14th. Brian Noel starting back in the 15th position at 00, and Joshua Kanata starting back in the 16th position. Shane Terry in 17th with Andrew Medlin to his outside in 18th. Shane's teammate Nico Garcia starting in 19th, and around up the top 20, Kyle Rochelle starting out the outside row 10.
21st, we found the 28 of Brian P. Johnson with Christopher Norris in 22nd position for the 38. Probably going to be Mark Morales, going to be in 23rd for the 91. Cedric Hunter starting very deep in the field in 24th. Cody Reed going to be back in 25th for the 25 machine. Samuel Garcia just outside that cut line in points. He'll start all the way down in 26th position. 27th, it's the 2 of Joshua Corner. Got to have fun cheering on the 2 for one of his better career finishes last week at Las Vegas. We'll see if we can continue on with that momentum. 28th, we find the 73 of Justin Malarkey, the 8 of Brian McCann, 29th, and finishing out our top 30. Why is he so far down low? It's the 75 of Gavin Rogers, starting off in that 30th position.
Out 31st will be GT Irizarry, starting back in the far back of the field with Ben Keeney to his outside. John Forbes Jr. starting back in 33rd position, a far back start for him as well, with Colin Carroll to his outside in 34th, Chris Stitz in 35th, Ross Tatum 36th, and rounding out the last spot of the field, Brad Delth starting 37th at the tail end of the field.
Talked about how there's a few tempers rolling in from Las Vegas over to Bristol. Well, some of those tempers were gifted a reward of penalties. A couple of drivers were offered warnings after some restart violation rules. That's the 22 of Colby DiCarlo, Jared Talmadge. Both were given warnings of laying back too far on a restart to try to gain an advantage. So if they have another offense happen here tonight, they could get heavily penalized heading into next week's race. Drivers that are being told of a heavier warning. Christopher Norris is on probation after his shenanigans with his back and forth battle between Tanner Bethea and Norris himself. Norris has been with that 5-race probation period. Has to be careful. Drivers that were given an EOL, Brad Delph, John Forbes, both will have to start at the end of the line. John Forbes, though, with causing too many incidences, was also given an L2 penalty, which means he's got an end of the line as well as a drive-through penalty after lap 1. We'll see how the one machine recovers after that. The rest of the field, they're set, they're ready. And Richard, any final thoughts before we get set for tonight's race?
Patience, but at the same time, those 65 laps for the first stage is going to go by really quick. So a lot of these drivers have got to make the move if they want that top 10 bonus points.
Seeing drivers getting prepared and set up for this go. It's going to be a long race, so we get a lot of cautions. It's not a known thing to see in WSSR. There's only been one race where we've had over double digits in cautions. We'll see how clean we can be here this evening as race 8 of season 11 is underway. And it's Tanner Bethea with a great run on the outside, but it's Seth Knoll. Hard charge down the middle of 1 and 2. Keeps the lead position. Top 2 are in line. Everyone else side by side. It's now the search for the clean air as Seth Knoll leads lap number 1. And here we go, Richard. At least we survived lap 1, but how much longer? Not very long, as trouble in the back for the 72 as well as the 91.
Yeah, some wrecking in the back there. 91 got a little loose, got the tail end of it, but then the 72 just came flying around the turn and just got into him as well. Almost like an arc break, it seems like. We'll have to see what they say, but yeah, heavy damage for those two cars.
As we're going to see here on this replay, they go the first lap trying to just search. And with the way that this aero package is for these drivers, being deeper in the field is not a gift of, okay, I'm staying out of trouble. It is honestly sometimes more difficult to race further on back. You're going to see the hard contact by Cody Reed, gives the tap to the 91, gets him around, and then ship back to the top. We see the 72, Brad Delph, hard contact. Delph with that EOL penalty had to start deep in the field. And as those two made their own contact, there also was a trouble ahead of them. As we'll first take a look here, Brad Delph's point of view on this incident. Did he have even chance to react? Because Richard, I mean, with the way Bristol is set up, this track, it is almost impossible to see if there's trouble ahead of you.
It is really hard. In the driver's seat here at Bristol, you can't see but maybe a quarter of the turn in front of you. So, I mean, seeing a car that far up, he's already committed to the high lane also. So it's really tough from a driver's perspective to be able to see something that far up. But hard damage, and that left or right rear for the 91 is broke. So he's going to be in the pit road for a long time.
And here's the incident I was talking about that happened further up ahead. Ben Keeney looked like he was trying to just make his way around the corner to avoid that 91 of Martin Morales, and ultimately looped it around. Gets contact with the 17, just trying to not get anyone else, and ultimately spins it around. Slight contact, not the worst thing in the world. We'll see how Ben's going to react, how much damage he's collected with that little bit of a nose tapper into the wall. But first caution out. At least we completed the first lap, we can say, for the leaders at least. But Richard, this is kind of the worry that you have coming to Bristol. The cautions breeding cautions phrase, it honestly feels like it was born here at Bristol with how well known it's always going to be happening.
Yeah, I think any short track really is where that has bred itself. I mean, yeah, you got cautions breeding cautions. You know, bunch the cars back up side by side, and that's why we have the issues of cautions after cautions. And these drivers are put back into each other, back side this close to each other, and now they got to try to stretch it back out again. But let's see if Seth Noel can do a fantastic start again. He did a great job getting around, getting to the lead straight away, and getting that fresh, clean air, what every driver wants, and is going to be prime real estate for this race.
I love the fact that Tanner Bethea tried his best on the outside, but it's going to be tough to do that here because it's not going on green. It's going on the leader. And Sentinel going to be getting a great launch for himself on the inside. Already going to be clear, heading down into turn number 1. Larry Yingling, Colby DiCarlo, they were side by side for a quick moment. Now it's our top 3 that are already single filing out. And it's now Vincent Sora and co. All where will they go at this moment? Exit out of turn number 4. Noel keeps leading, and that's another lap put in the green flag book.
Yeah, another lap led by Seth Knoll. A great dominating performance right now, getting out and just taking the lead right away. I think the only thing Tanner Bethea could have done is maybe been more side by side with him and predicted when he was going to go and just kind of pay attention to that driver for the restart. It's the best thing you could do, but these drivers are learning real quick. Let's get in a line and just kind of ride it out for now, because it's still a very long race and you don't want to be the one to cause damage for other people or yourself.
And that's the hard thing for a lot of these drivers. Some of these guys are known for being up front, leading the race, and being stuck in traffic with the fact that when you're behind somebody, it's so much harder to turn. It's like the car just wants to go straight. That some of the drivers are just trying to make these passes immediately, not really caring about how much tire wear they put down. That's why we're seeing the majority of the field still riding the top side, trying to take as many passes as you can now, and hope that if a caution comes up, that rewards you with at least keeping that track position for now. As we've been riding on board with the 32 of Zach Hall, just getting a sense of what it's like to be on the inside and trying to stay on this yellow line. Richard, it certainly, in the past, it's been an up and down window on iRacing with every update that comes out on which lane is important as caution further on back. We'll get back to that point later on, as it's the 7 of Douglas Newbigging that goes around, as he was finding himself qualified 10th. Now we'll be all the way back in 35th position. As we get to see, that's a lot of heavy front end damage for the 7. But the searching of which lane is going to be the more important one, that's going to be something that we see throughout the night. As that was always a change, as it's just a simple self spin for the 7. And that's been a career issue for Douglas Newbigging that just strikes here at the worst time.
Yeah, Douglas Newbigging has always been a fast driver week in and week out. It's just he always finds that edge that's just a little too much, and he just kind of takes himself out of the competition majority of the time. So, but just trying to ride around on the inside there, comes out of turn, I do believe it was 4 is where it happened. Either way, coming out of the turn, just gets a little loose. The rear end steps out from behind underneath him, and front stretch there, and just straight into the inside wall. Heavy damage. Might be some toe link damage as well, so that's gonna hurt. As long as it's just some cosmetic damage, he should be able to be fine. Bristol really isn't huge on the aero necessarily, so as long as he doesn't have much wheel damage, I think he can still have a chance.
Let's try to get into pit road as quickly as possible. Actually, just trying to race around Brad Delph. That was the move by the 7. You don't see that very often, of trying to pass drivers while under pit road conditions like that. Obviously, Douglas Newbigging not impressed on the speed we were seeing, but Bristol, it's got 2 different configuration. It's got itself a 2 pit stop configuration where all you have to do is just drive into whatever lane your box is in and then get out of pit road immediately. We are racing here tonight in the WSSR VRS Cup Series with a 1 pit road, a single pit road, which means you have to enter going in off the exit of turn 2. And if you go all the way around the track until you can exit off the entry of turn 1, that is a long pit stop run you have to do. And honestly, Richard, that kind of makes getting damage repairs done a lot more nerve-wracking, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, even if it wasn't the 1 pit road, getting damage repaired here at Bristol is just nerve-wracking anyway, because, I mean, typically when the damage does matter, you're talking, 2 to 3 minutes when you get a heavy hit like that, and that's at least 3 to 4 laps down if you don't leave pit road. So it's almost a race ender, especially when there's other cars that are going laps down. It's going to be a long night for those that get damaged and have to go down pit road to get it repaired.
For Douglas Newbigging, able to continue racing on as we get ready to go green here this evening. Still Seth Knoll, still going to be Tanner Bethea, as well as Colby DiCarlo. Top 3 have not changed. A little bit of movement happening behind them. Biggest mover so far inside of our top 10 is Ali Fonseca back in 8th place. We'll see if the 24 can continue his march forward, as up front, those Lucky Duck machines get in line quickly, and it's all going to be DiCarlo. Can he hold back? Going to be Jarrett Talmadge on the outside, and Talmadge poking the nose ahead, and it looks like we'll finally get clear for third place as DiCarlo not wanting to give up just yet, but the strength of the outside is going to prevail.
Yeah, the outside is definitely going to be your faster way around this track. You can carry the speed and the momentum, especially for the exit. The best line I have found coming to Bristol, though, is kind of a diamond pattern where if you can enter a little higher into the turn and then get a late apex into the turn or on the exit, then you can drive a little straighter off this turn onto the straightaway, which lets the car be a little bit more stable, a little more steady, and you can carry way more speed down the front stretch. But these drivers on the outside, they are trying to get as many positions as we were talking about earlier as they can with that momentum on the outside. The downside, this will wear their tires down. So it's a matter of
trouble behind.
Another accident, another caution for these drivers.
And it's going to be Justin Malarkey and GT Irizarry coming together through 3 and 4 as GT Irizarry kind of just drives through the 73. Not a lot of contact, a little bit of contact to the outside wall between those two drivers, but honestly, I'm shocked. I thought we were going to see a lot more wrecks of those in the middle of the field with how everyone's stacked up. It's the back half that's been having a lot of the trouble this evening as there's the contact, they're rubbing into one another, and luckily no one else gets involved. But I mean, Richard, what's your thoughts on this one? It just looks like, from my perspective, GT got a little bit overzealous when he got a good run.
Yeah, GT Irizarry just had a great run. Thought he possibly had some room on the inside there to go underneath the 73 of Malarkey, but just from the looks of it, we'll ride along here right now as they go into the turn. Yeah, just had the run and just kind of drove up, didn't have the space there into the quarter panel of the 73. So unfortunate move for Irizarry there, and unfortunate for Malarkey as he's going to have a little bit of damage. Hopefully nothing too bad, and he can stay out on track with just a little bit of aero and continue racing.
Continue Racing seems to be, with this most recent update that iRacing's done with this vehicle, you're able to race a lot longer. Required damage, I felt like, in previous update was making a lot of drivers get the dreaded "there's too much damage, we're out of this race" message. It feels like now you only get that message if you blow your engine. Otherwise, your crew is trying their best to get everything fixed on your vehicle so that you can continue racing on. And no required damage flags given out here in the early cautions, as Justin Malarkey, GT Irizarry, going to get some more repairs done for themselves as well. Going to be helping out Douglas Newbigging, some surprise drivers entering pit road. Shane Terring in the 9 entering pit road. I'm curious if he got any damage that he wasn't happy that he collected under this past restart, but only 25 laps in, and we still have ourselves 40 laps to go in this stage, which is kind of nerve-wracking in itself because we've just seen how difficult it's past people. Richard, that just means the aggression levels just can continue ramping up if you're just outside of the top 10.
Yeah, it's going to ramp up for sure. And I think, you know, part of that issue with Irizarry and Malarkey there was the aero thing that we were talking about. I think maybe Irizarry had a little bit more speed than he was expecting because he was able to get a little bit of clean air on the inside of Malarkey. And he did. He just had a huge surge and was able to just drive up to the quarter panel there, but it just didn't work out in the end. But these drivers looking to line up, get ready to take the green flag. But now we have got Tanner Bethea on the inside of Seth Knoll for this restart.
And Tanner Bethea able to find his way to be ahead of Seth Knoll at the time of that caution coming out. He was ripping the top, trying to follow the line that Jared Talmadge was running. Now both of them will have to start on the inside as green flag is back out in the air here at Bristol for the WSSR VRS Cup Series race number 8. So far, it's been a tough start to the race, but Tanner Bethea going to be able to hold steady up front. Is 78, hoping to change the mindset of a lot of drivers here in this league, as he is showing some quick pace here during practice, even during the race. And he continues to be up front, but there's the trouble in the middle of the field as it is clustering through 1 and 2 as multiple drivers piling into one another.
Yeah, Brian Noel actually facing backward there. There was about 4 or 5 cars involved in this one. So these drivers are definitely struggling here at Bristol early on in this race. Hopefully they can figure something out and we can get some long green flag racing, but there's some struggles in the middle to back part of this field.
Looks like the starting catalysts of this one going to be around the 16 and the 00. As Brian Noel currently runs in 38th position. Joshua Kanata be able to keep some of his positions, but both of them racing hard on this restart. And it looks like it might be the 16. We're going to see it here on the restart. It's off the exit of turn 4. I don't know if there was net code, contact to the wall, but the 16 racing very aggressively, trying to hold position. And, oh, I think there might have been contact with Norris there. That got the 16 out of sorts, and then there's the piling in of everyone behind him. And then there was an extra contact. As we'll take another look at this from the bumper cam and see if Norris made contact. But Richard, this was a very close call and one of those quick bang moments that you always see at Bristol.
Yeah, that was a really close call there. Again, not sure if there was contact made with the number 38 of Christopher Norris or not. I will say one thing that was a little different with this ad. Oh, I still can't tell if there was contact there, but one thing that's different with this build is aero griefing. I don't know how much we talked about that lately, but you get right up to someone's rear bumper like that, and it's going to push a lot of air onto the rear end, and it will just kind of step that car out, make them really loose. That is something that is also new with this new aero package on these cars. So couldn't really tell if there was contact there. Still didn't really have a good angle on it, but it was very, very close nonetheless.
I'm curious if we might be able to go back one more time to that replay. There was another driver that got involved in that wreck that was not even involved in that incident. It was the 17 of Chris Stitz. He got completely ran over as everyone was slowing down for the wreck ahead. The 72 of Brad Delph just completely taking out Chris Stitz here. And we're going to see on this wreck, seeing the wreck in front of him, slows down. There's the 72 and just power slams Stitz into the wall. And Stitz goes into pit road, and that could be the evening for the 17, who just simply was just trying to avoid the wreck. Did so perfectly, but Brad Delph did not.
Yeah, just unfortunate for Chris Stitz. It's going to be the night ending almost for him. And going back and looking at it, there was a little bit of contact with Christopher Norris and Joshua Kanata. So unfortunate for that situation with a lot of cars involved in that wreck.
Yeah, there it is. Brad Delph not slowing down, making contact. And Christopher Norris, he's on probation. That incident, we'll see how much that influences after they check themselves out, as green flag is back out in the air. As you see that cluster of drivers exiting out of pit road, our leaders take off and go. It's Tanner Bethea, going to be Seth Knoll, going to be trying their best to continue to be the top dogs up front. But Jarrett Talmadge, the only driver from the Nightmare Fuel team yet to get a win this season. Could tonight be his chance as Colby DiCarlo, big slide for the 22 as they continue to race hard up front.
A lot of hard racing up front, but Tanner Bethea still able to keep the lead. But Jarrett Talmadge challenging Seth Knoll on the inside. He is trying to take second place with his teammate Thomas Green and Vincent Sora right behind him as well, trying to make the moves, get through this field. But the 22 is really knocking on the door. Both of them, too, sitting back in the fourth place, and he is trying to make that outside work with the number 88.
And for this 22, luckily for him, he's got space to the inside. He's ripping the top, but you got to be careful of that 31. It's just inching ever so closer as more trouble further on back. And it's the 13 of Cedric Hunter that's facing the wrong direction now.
Cedric Hunter, a very rare scene to see him sideways. Don't know if he had any help. We'll have to go back and look, but that left front is done. It is not moving. It is crushed up to the underside of that fender. That's going to be a long time repair, if not done for the night for Cedric Hunter. So unfortunate to see for the Hello Kitty number 13 machine, but right here, it just kind of looks like he's all alone at the moment.
He's all alone. He just loops it. This is a rarity to see by Cedric Hunter. Just hits that yellow line, goes around, and here's where that dent came in. Oh, GT as well as Samuel Garcia with the hard contact, and it's another driver around our bubble spot in points that cannot afford a race like that, as Samuel Garcia was trying his best to slow down. GT behind him had no clue that there was a lone 13 looking the wrong way.
Yeah, that was a very rare spin from Cedric Hunter. Just got onto that yellow line a little, got him sideways, and then just sitting on the top side of the track. I mean, there's plenty of room here to make a move. Just, I don't know why he stayed that high on the track, but I mean, again, that's from the top roof of the car, not from the cockpit. We can't tell what drivers are looking at exactly, but unfortunate for Cedric Hunter. Just an innocent spin turned into heavy damage from another driver.
Yeah, and you know, it's one of those things where you're trying your best to avoid a wreck and it just doesn't happen. That is a lot of quick yellows now. 39 laps into this race. We're not even done with stage one. I'd imagine most of the field's kind of already tired with a little bit of I-pacing that we're having this evening. 5 cautions in before we even got to lap 50. That is not a number that you want to see, but again, the way that this car and this track works, it's so tough at certain moments to really keep this front end and keep the cars away from making contact, because you have to race so aggressively to make any big moves.
Yeah, you got to be really aggressive here, and I think that's what's causing a lot of the minor issues we're having. Minor that are turning into major, honestly. But Cedric Hunter, I think, was just trying to use every inch of the track to try to get that run down the straightaways. We saw him kind of diamond the turn, try to get that straight shot off the turn. Just gets into that apron just ever so slightly, but I'm sure these drivers are ready for some long green flag racing. This is not what we like doing. We like racing at speed. We don't like sitting here running side by side in a pace lap again, but these drivers looking and antsy to try to get some fast racing ahead of them.
And Bristol is known that it will have green flag racing at some point. The question is, when will we get it? Most likely after this stage is over, as green flag is back out in the air. 25 laps to go in stage number 1. Only the top 10 drivers get those stage bonus points, and that's another factor on why we're seeing everyone get a little bit more antsy around that 10th, 11th, 12th place position, where they know they have to go quickly. That's where Munatzi Major, Christopher Norris, Zach Hall, they loom there, as up front, it's all Tanner Bethea. And for those drivers up front, and those that are ripping the top, these cautions, they're helping them out. They're cooling off those tires, enabling to have a more chance. But there's another quick caution. It's further in the back, and it's the 00 of Brian Noel going around. So it's the back half. They're struggling, and it looks like it's another driver with a self-spin for themselves.
Yeah, self-spin seemed to be the name of the game so far. The past 2 have been that, but man, another caution, another time to just slow down, reset your mindset again. And like you said, you know, the good thing about this is, well, I can't even say the good thing about it. A lot of these drivers are going to get very, very, very aggressive now because they haven't really worn these tires in. They're able to keep these tires a little cool. They're able to keep the speed in it, keep these wear, and they're just able to burn these tires down now. So you're going to see a lot more people driving as fast as they possibly can, making moves you wouldn't normally see. But with all these cautions, it's kept these tires as fresh as they possibly could.
And what's going to make it interesting is pit stops. When the stage comes around, when you come into pit road, what tires do you take? Do you take all 4? Do you just take fuel? There's going to be strategy now due to the fact that we haven't had a long green flag run during this stage. All these tires, honestly, I think they still have grip to put down their fastest laps, even 40 laps into this race so far.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see strategy-wise for the stage break pit stops. Who's going to take tires and who's not? Heck, I think even taking right side tires might be the call just to reduce the amount of time you're on pit road. I will say, though, if they have to take fuel for a green flag pit stop after stage 1, I think they'll take 4 tires after that because I don't see them going that long on old tires.
Yeah, not very long at all. As also, if you're further in the back and you've been seeing all these troubles and a lot of drivers having to go into pit road to get damage repair, you might be able to sneak your way with, you know, like getting one of these later cautions. We get another quick one, or we get 2 quick ones before the stage is over. We might see some people decide to go into pit road, take tires then, and then try to just stay out, get track position that way. That is a lot of strategy now going to be thrown out here, as we are still under caution flag conditions. It's been a rough one so far. I want to say thank you to everyone that's been with us so far. Lenny Reed, Cody Reed's dad's been the one in the chat, rooting for his son and driver, hoping for a good day for the 25. I also want to say thank you again to our incredible sponsors. Title sponsor of the WSSR Cup Series, that is VRS, the Virtual Racing School. Also want to say thank you to GTR Simulators, Trophy Smack, Sim Precision Prints, and Whiplash Simcams for being freaky fast broadcasting camera providers for this season. We get ready. Here we go. Base car is off, and it's time to go back to green flag racing. Bethea, Knoll, back at it again, and it's going to be seen. Jared Talmadge going to be that driver on the outside. 27. He's going to be the one of note. How quickly does he try to get by the 22? And does he even have an attempt chance to get by Noel? Or will we see even the 31 as everyone stacking up side by side for second on back?
22 making a fantastic move on the inside. Typically not a place you'll see the passes at this point, but he's hanging in there really well, trying to keep Seth Knoll behind him and up there on the top side, but 22 will clear him, and that will drop Seth Knoll back to the 3rd position now as Colby DiCarlo and Tanner Bethea in the clean air up front. Still side by side later in the field, Vincent Sora trying to make moves to move up also on the inside, with the 74 Nick Crawford stuck on the outside behind Thomas Green as well, trying to follow them around to get his positions up there up front.
Nick Crawford in this lo-fi latte machine trying to make his way forward on the outside group. A couple of drivers on the inside starting to fade away, but you're seeing everyone on the outside. They're trying their best to continue their march forward. The problem is if you get too many drivers on the outside, you could start to check up and lose ground in the center of the corner, where drivers on the inside, if they get a good run, could really gain a lot of positions here as everyone continues to rip the top. First DNF of the night, it is Cedric Hunter in the 13. He has called it an evening already, 50 laps in. That is so unfortunate to see, as big wiggle and slide by Kyle Rochelle and Brian P. Johnson as Gavin Rogers trying to sneak his way through and somehow get a top 10 finish here, coming to the end of the stage.
Yeah, and Rogers, massive movement for himself, starting back in the 30s, smacks the wall there coming out of the turn, but he is making his way slowly but steadily up there to the top 10. He's currently sitting 14th. He has still got his eyes set on this outside lane trying to make moves, but Ryan Kelly and Vincent Sora, they do seem to be kind of fading a little bit. We did notice that coming out of the turn, they were getting a little loose, so I'm curious if it's just the angle they're coming out of the turn, trying to keep their speed up, and it just spins those back tires. But Gavin Rogers, following Brian P. Johnson, is able to get around Vincent Sora as Vincent Sora moves up to the outside.
Trouble! Christopher Norris going around in front of the field. Caution flag is out, but majority of the pack, can they sneak on by? And somehow they do. But Norris inside of the top 10 for a quick moment and then fades on out with the big slide.
That was fantastic work from the rest of the field behind that spin, able to not get into Christopher Norris, who is literally sitting in the middle of the track. Everyone did a great job. Great heads-up driving by everyone, getting on the brakes, slowing down, and getting around him without causing any more damage. But unfortunate to see, sitting there in the top 10, just I'm not sure if there was a little bit of contact we'll have to see here, but Norris, unfortunate to see for the 38 machine. Because looks like he gets in from the 77, gets into his quarter panel, and just around he goes, and just in front of the Zachary Hall and Brian P. Johnson. That's really all the damage we see. I don't think that's a lot of damage for a lot of people, but close calls from everyone behind him.
Extremely close calls all around. And one driver of note, as we have 36 start the green here tonight, one driver did not start. I just noticed. It's John Forbes in the one machine. He is not showing up for today's race. I'm trying to see if there's maybe a report by him on what happened. And with John Forbes not racing today, his penalty could carry over into next week at Michigan, which would find himself getting a start at the end of the line and drive-through penalty that would carry over for the one. That could be a tough pill to swallow for himself. Now these drivers do have a drop week. We'll see how things change up moving forward. Tanner Bethea, Seth Knoll, they stay out as a group of drivers deciding to come into pit road, and it's some of those that are up front. Seeing Colby DiCarlo, Vincent Sora, and a few others that were inside of our top 10 deciding to pit now. And there's that strategy I was talking about, Richard, of if we got a late caution before the stage was over, you might take that gamble of pit now, take tires and fuel, and then stay out when the stage is out.
Yeah, I think for anybody outside, I'm going to say the top 15 further back, it's a smart decision to come down pits, get your fresh tires, and when the stage does finish, you're going to be able to stay out. Yeah, it's going to be about 15 or so laps on those tires, but you're going to have track position, and that is such prime real estate with this new update. So smart decision for a lot of those drivers coming in, getting their pit service done before the end of the stage. They're going to be able to stay out and basically bunny hop the rest of the field.
Loving the fact that they're going for the charge. Got a new driver, got a new fan out there rooting for Larry Yingling. And Ray's out there in the chat saying, let's go, Larry. We're hoping that Larry Yingling continue his way, the three-time champ of the WSSR Cup Series. Hoping to go for number 4 in his career. We'll see if tonight can be the resurgence, as he's been trying to find some good finishes and a victory if possible. Green flag is out in the air for Tanner Bethea, Seth Knoll, Jared Talmadge, Thomas Green, Ali Fonseca. Got a couple of new cats that are inside of our top three. Jared Talmadge, though, not able to get the run he was looking for. Instead, it's going to be Ali Fonseca in that yellow Ollie machine. Got a huge momentum push out of turn number 2. And this 24, I think if he finds the spacing, it could be a driver that could try to pressure our top 2. But that outside groove hitting a wall currently with Thomas Green.
Screen hit wall there, but Ollie Fonseca has done a fantastic job. Like you said, has had a really great late surge in this season, is running up here in the top 5 for the stage. He's looking to try to get some stage points, and a lot of cars 3 wide back there getting into the wall. Zachary Hall kind of stuck in the middle, still in the middle, going to be around Brian P. Johnson and the number 9 of Shane Terrian, as they're still 3 wide going into the turn.
Yeah, former teammates. This is the trio that was formerly known as Carolina Reapers. Well, they're all going to back out now, but it's going to be Kyle Rochelle holding steady. That's the 10th place position in the 41, and he's got some hungry wolves behind him that are trying to get some big points. Where will Brian P. Johnson, also Zach Hall, starting to stall out. Cody Reed also watching this madness, but are you willing to take the pass for Brian P. Johnson? The dive bomb move works for that 10th place position for this moment. Hall will attempt his go around, and then up front, it's Seth Knoll, Tanner Bethea. They're racing side by side as we're coming to the end of the stage. Who's going to get these bonus points? It's Bethea who will take the stage win. The rest of the field, they wait for the yellow flag to come out as the top 10 cross the line. Yellow flag yet to be thrown. They're waiting for it. It doesn't look like the admins are able to hit it. They will now. And luckily, no one getting caught up in wrecks, but a huge run for Tanner Bethea, who will take that stage win.
Another great work by Tanner Bethea taking the stage win, and finishing up in 9th. Gavin Rogers moving up from the 30th position, able to get some stage points for himself as well. So fantastic work from Tanner Bethea, able to best Seth Knoll around the track in this first stage. We'll have to see what speed he's got the rest of this race.
Also, big points for Ali Fonseca, who's outside of the top 16 in points. He was our biggest mover after last week's race at Las Vegas. Trying to carry that momentum as our stage winner is Tanner. We'll pull up this 78 after he's done with his pit stall, as here comes the swing. Who stayed out? Who is going to pit? A lot of big questions are about to be made for some drivers, and the first one I think that's going to stay out, it's going to be the 27 of Jared Talmadge, Brian P. Johnson, Cody Reed. It's the big change up in swing that's going on at this moment, and that's a lot of drivers that you're seeing that are staying out, and Tanner is going to be in a lot of trouble, and all those that are pitting right now, because they're going to be in the thick of all this traffic.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of traffic for the guys that were running up front. It's going to be a different feel for them this time. Now they get to see what the chaos is in the back. They're going to have to deal with the aero differences and see what that new aero package is going to feel like here at Bristol. So it's going to be a hard road for those guys now, but from now, the change of the guard at the front with Jarrett Talmadge staying out and taking P1.
Alrighty, let's see if we can bring up our stage winner as he's just finished up his pit stalls and see what this 78 is feeling. Tanner, it's Sam and Richard up at the booth. Congratulations on your stage win. How are you feeling? How's the car feeling right now?
And it's felt the best it's ever have. It's definitely one of our better runs, but we just messed it up in pit road, so maybe we can recover here.
It definitely looks like you got some speeding on pit road, so that'll be to the back for you. But how's the car feeling in traffic? I know you were behind Seth Knoll for a little bit there, and with the new aero package, how does the car feel here at Bristol?
It feels great. Me and Seth's kind of working together right now, just trying to hold and maintain the lead of this race and just try to keep control. But overall, man, the car feels great. I'm excited to see what the rest of the race has a plan for us.
Well, we saw how well you can be up front in clean air. We can't wait to see how you climb through the field starting this far back. Unfortunate on the speeding penalty, but good luck, Tanner, as we send you back to your team. As we are back to green flag racing, iRacing with this new update also changed up these times on restarts. They're a lot quicker. Interviews a lot quicker as well, as it's going to be Jared Talmadge back at it up front. Huge takeoff for himself. Ross Tatum getting a little bit lost. Same for Brian P. Johnson. It's third on back. We're starting to see the cluster up of drivers, but those that just pitted. Seth Knoll had to restart all the way back in 15th position. He's already up to 13th. How well can he climb through this field as everyone, old tires for some, new, slightly new for others. And this track, some are finally getting a taste of what clean air is finally like, as into the wall, Brian McCann as well as Major.
Yeah, Jared Talmadge just shot out like a cannon. There is Seth Knoll right there trying to take it. I'm sorry, Seth Knoll trying to take it 3 wide, trying to make moves with these fresher tires to get around these guys that stayed out. Still taking it 3 wide. Seth Knoll is on a mission to get back up to the front of the field.
One of the first drivers really to utilize his tires, and we saw this a lot at Las Vegas last week with his big dive bomb moves to the apron on the front stretch and willing to go 3 wide, 4 wide at times, as Colin Carroll is going to get up into that outside wall. This Dr. Pepper machine doing everything in his power to continue to move forward, recognizing you have to use these tires now. You can't just be patient, otherwise the tires will start to plateau and all that advantage is gone and dusted. Behind, you can see that yellow Ollie machine. That's the other driver with the freshest of tires of Ollie Fonseca, who's making his bold moves. Instead of going 3 wide and being the driver on the inside, he's ripping it right through the middle.
Ollie Fonseca is doing a fantastic job. He is definitely using these tires up to get the track position through the middle there. Kind of put Larry Yingling up into the wall a little because they got a little tight coming out of the turn, but Ollie Fonseca is definitely burning these tires down to try to get as far as they can. As the 77's also going to take it to the middle and 3 wide. These guys on fresh tires, they are wasting no time trying to get around everyone they can, as Thomas Green is looking 3 wide as well.
Thomas Green, Nick Crawford, they might see a spree of drivers that are willing to go 3 wide, and those that are stuck on the outside cookie of this 3 wide madness, it's Joshua Kanata and Larry Yingling. As Yingling falls up, but Munatsi Major in front of him goes for a ride as the 82 brings out another caution here tonight.
Yeah, Munatsi Major gets spun a little sideways there in the straightaway, bringing out her caution.
And it looks like it might have been off the nose of Christopher Norris. That would be, if they deem that incident with Joshua Kanata earlier, or excuse me, that other incident we saw earlier in the race, there's another contact to the 38. He's got to be in major worry mode if you're Norris, because of being on probation. There could be a suspension coming up if he's caused too many incidences, as the Major is able to continue racing on. Not too critical damage the two took on.
Yeah, not a lot of critical damage at all. He'll be able to get probably majority of that fixed up and get back out on track, or not even worry about it. We'll have to see what he decides. He is coming down pit road to see what kind of damage he's got, but unfortunate to see for Christopher Norris, another incident it looks like he's being involved in tonight. Just another driver off the nose of his car. And that, you know, when you're coming in on probation, you gotta be careful. You gotta be more careful than you've ever been when you're driving. So, oh man, he's definitely got to be worried a little bit about how this is going.
Extremely worried. Here is going to be your Whiplash SimCam's biggest mover of the race so far. As we're 81 laps into the night's race, up 33 spots from where they qualified in 35th place. It's Ross Tatum with taking the gamble and the strategy call of staying out. Pitted right before the stage break was over and found himself getting up front to second place. That's 21. The gambles worked out, as our lucky dog driver going to be the 72 of Brad Delph, as he will find himself getting one of his laps back, leaving us with 31 drivers on the lead lap out of the 36 that started here this evening. But strategy calls, Ross Tatum, I mean, earlier in the season, we saw at Rockingham as well as at Dover, had some pretty strong runs. Open the short track luck continues to carry over for this 21 Coca-Cola machine.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see him do extremely well again here on some short track racing. Still has a lot of race to go on 44 lap old tires, and you know, it's shocking to see Jared Talmadge and Brian B. Johnson, they're on 83 lap old tires, so they didn't even pit earlier. So they've started this race on those tires they're currently on. That is impressive to see from those guys.
And as well, Cody Reed in 8th. He's the 3rd driver that is yet to pit here tonight. I don't know where. Like I said, they had run not very much green flag laps to the point of coming to our stage, or at least those with 15 to go in the stage. thought maybe take a gamble. This one seems a little bit overzealous. It's working for Jared Talmadge as he's able to take off and go, and the clean air's there. We'll see if it continues to carry on with another great launch for Jared, but it's going to be Ross Tatum staying a little bit closer to Talmadge, as Talmadge has to be careful. The driver in their mirror that they got to be careful of, it's the 22. DeCarlo's got fresher tires, and he has looked quick so far here this evening. There's one driver into the outside wall. It's Colin Carroll. Got to the wall too many times so far, and he'll stick it to the outside wall.
Great work by everybody to dodge him as well. They are still going 3 wide. There is a lot of 3 wide racing throughout this field. Impressive to see. But Colby DeCarlo making moves up here in third, the highest driver with the freshest tires. But he's also got Brian McCann in the number 8 right behind him as well.
Rolls into the wall. DeCarlo around and wrecks right in front of Brian P. Johnson and back into the field. Just clipping, I think that was Nico Garcia, whose luck continues on as they continue to pile in even later.
Wow, carnage later in the field as well, behind the actual incident that brought out the yellow. Oh, unfortunate to see. Just talking about him, there's the commentator curse we like to talk about, or that happens every now and then. So right along, see what happens here. Colby DeCarlo doing some great work, but 21, Ross Tatum up into the wall, and Colby just had too much speed, couldn't really dodge it, but did clip Nico Garcia there near the end as well. But I wonder what happened at the back side of this field, also why there's a parking lot behind DeCarlo.
Looks like the 4 might have been spun around. Some were slowing down, others were not. The 4 of Colin Carroll is going to get spun off the nose, I believe, the 41 of Kyle Rochelle, and they have their own issue that more drivers try to avoid multiple wrecks, which it's hard enough to avoid 1. Avoiding 2 is tough to do.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a lot of cars across the track right now. It's everyone trying to slow up at the same time and other people not seeing what's going in front of them. Just miscommunication and mistiming by everyone. But, oh, man, just a lot of cars parked at the tail end of this wreck as we ride along with the number 4 right now. See what kind of happened near the end here. The 41 kind of comes up. Yeah, just looks like people just trying to slow down. The 41 just wasn't ready. And people driving into the number 4 afterward as well.
We might have to take another look at that, as that rear bumper cam didn't really show the carnage of drivers piling in. I will give credit. Brad Delph was able to slow down that go around. I think he had learned his lesson so far here tonight. A couple of other drivers not really having the timing to be even have a chance to slow down, as seeing the aggressive racing. And I think what happened here is the 4, he slows up because Hall's slowing down. And 41 thought he was going to have space. Not the case, as Ben Keeney slams in. And also it's going to be Justin Malarkey. And luckily the rest of the field able to scoot on by. Almost contact there with Malarkey. And I believe that was the 7 of Douglas Newbigging. Oh, man. Just little worrisome moments all around as pace car lights are off. We're about to be going this time by. And Richard, 90 laps in of 225. Still a lot of racing to go. And somehow it's Jared Talmadge and Brian McCann that are leaders after all the strategy calls at this moment. How do we go at this time? Different strategies have been thrown around. Some of the top contenders, Seth Knoll, pole sitter, he's back in 8th place, trying to continue on his charge forward. Vincent Sora, currently the biggest mover of those that have pitted so far here tonight. A couple of laps back. We'll see how well he can charge his way forward as green flag is back out in the air. What trouble for Norris right in front of the field, and they've got to avoid the 38 once again. And oh boy, was that a nerve-wracking moment for Norris, as he just saw a wall of drivers trying to split him. Never ending is it when you go around, as they continue to split back and forth. Richard, again, you're just fighting for everything, and it's another self spin off the exit of turn number 2, off at 4. It's a tough to get around this course.
Oh, man, that was a huge squeeze on the outside of Norris there also, but a self-spin. Norris is not having a race he wants to remember. This is not the style of race you want when you're coming in on a 5-race probation period. So this is one he's going to want to put in the mirror and just forget about at the end of the night. But unfortunate as it just gets loose, and huge, like just drivers that are going 3 wide, trying to dodge it, just squeezed each other up. No, huge damage or huge hits from a lot of drivers, but and just spinning out in front of them as well. Just not a lot of. There's not a lot of room to kind of dodge cars here at Bristol.
Yeah, and then Shane Tarian got himself looped around off our stage winner, and it's like we said. I mean, there's more so of incidents growing into bigger wrecks after the fact that seem to be collecting where majority of the damage is. It's not always the initial contact or the initial spin that gets a lot of damage. It's those trying to avoid, those that maybe get a little out of control. And another caution is in the books here this evening as the drivers pace around for another go around. I want to say thank you to our sponsors once again. Our title sponsor, VRS, otherwise known as the Virtual Racing School. If you're looking for ways to develop your own racing, to go after, you can find tools that can help get you developed into championship level sim racing and help you into the real life racing, head on over to the virtualracingschool.com. They've helped out notable eNASCAR Coca-Cola Series drivers, but their major goal, it's pretty clear, it's to provide every driver with the tools and knowledge to reach their full potential, whether it's on the virtual track or beyond. We also want to say thank you to GTR Simulators. If you go out to GTR Simulators and look at some of their incredible racing rigs, you can find yourself with some of the best out there to make it feel like you're racing in the real life vehicles. When purchasing at gtrsimulators.com, remember to use the promo code WSSR at checkout for 10% off on $100 or more purchase. And that's at gtrsimulators.com. Don't miss out on your chance to upgrade your racing rig and race like the pros. We wait for that flag to be waved to get back to green flag racing. Jared Talmadge, Brian McCann. Who gets the better launch? They're expecting that 27 on the outside as green flag's out of the air, and it's Vincent Sora. Now going to be battling for second to 51. There's your man, Richard, that you called for as your spotlight driver. He's now made the pass for second.
Vincent Sora on 10-lap old tires. He finally came in, took some tires for himself, and he is making them work, has worked his way up the field, sitting nice in the second position, still on the inside there, not making that outside work yet. He wants to save these tires, hoping for a longer green flag run, because that'll allow him to have some longer race pace from Jarrett Talmadge and Brian McCann. He might be able to pull away from them then if we can get some green flag racing for these guys. But Vincent Sora is sitting nice in second, but Jarrett Talmadge is tearing this track up and burning those tires down as he is shot out and is almost he's a little over half a second ahead.
Having a little bit of a blinking issue. That's the purple and white. I know Lenny in the chat's happy to see it. It's Cody Reed starting to make his charge forward as Cody gets to pit, and he's starting to see new life in these 99-lap old tires. As you're seeing others that are trying to make their way forward. Sentinel now up to 5th place. He's challenging Cody Reed for 5th. Here's the 77 of Drew Jua, who's had a couple of scraps in between, racing with the 71 of Nico Garcia, who's had poor luck all around. But you talk about the original poor luck for the last few seasons, that's Andrew Medlin. Medlin, a driver that we've seen in other series that we've broadcasted before in the past, has found great success in getting to victory lane. Used to be a top 5, top 10 merchant who would just always be there at the end of these races, but last few seasons it has been very rough for Medlin and his Storm Motorsports teammates. Here tonight we've already seen one get caught up in a mess. Medlin trying to continue on pushing to prove that that team has got some great strength. But the current season bad luck driver, Nico Garcia, Richard the 71, he had one of his best career runs last week at Las Vegas, ultimately got spun around, taken out. But here is a redemption race that he could hope for as he's just outside of the top 10. They squeeze, they wreck, and it's another madness further behind.
Oh, huge madness behind as Ben Keeney came flying into that wreck, and huge damage for more cars. Brad Delph looks like he's going to tow it. He's going to be done for the night. Oh, huge wreck in the back.
And it all started with our stage 1 winner of Tanner Bethea. Got contact and loose. You're going to see here with the 4 of Colin Carroll. And the madness after the fact really just balloons out, but a massive run by the 4. He's trying to build up these huge runs to attempt to pass to the inside. And coming out of turn number 2, another big run, trying to show that he's going to go to the inside groove and just clips the 78. Wicked contact, but then here comes the drivers piling in. Ben, no, cow, huge contact into Brad Delph.
Ben Keeney didn't look like he was slowing down at all. That was a massive hit for the 78 machine. Oh, I haven't seen a car snap like that in a minute with this new update, but that was a very quick snap after the Ford got into his left rear quarter panel and just head on into the wall. That kind of just ended his night. Some massive damage to that car. Then just some salt in the wound, gets hit by Brad Delph. Delph looked like he was trying to slow down, just not enough time. And then Ben Keeney coming in and just taking out Brad Delph as well. So huge damage for a lot of drivers. And
that will be the end of Tanner Bethea as well as Brad Delph's night. We'll see from the 98's point of view. We talked about how being in the actual driver's seat, how low visibility is. I'm curious after we see this contact as we hop on board. This is what Ben's visibility was going into this race. If you have a single monitor, this is all you see. And I mean, you kind of can see the mentality he was going for. He was hoping that he could maybe crank it down to get underneath them, but he just was carrying way too much speed. There was no chance he was going to be able to avoid that wreck. But if you got on the brakes, it also was hard to turn. So it's just a double-edged sword that Ben was dealing with there. But again, it was going way too fast into that incident.
Yeah, way too fast. And I'm sure the caution was already out. So, but yeah, he's trying to crank that wheel to the left, get that car to go down on the apron. And just, again, too fast into that turn to be able to do so. And he had nowhere to go after that. The cars were just in the middle and the bottom lane of the track. So it was hard for him to pick a lane. But just unfortunate to see for Ben Keeney and everyone involved in that wreck, especially for the 78 machine, who was our stage winner.
And Tanner Bethea still going to have to go into next week and hope that maybe his luck will change. He'll be able to finish a race for himself. Drivers up front, they were just given the delayed. We're going to go one more time around before we go green. As Vincent Sora, Jared Talmadge, they're ready to get back to racing action. Vincent Sora wants to get this lead as quickly as possible. Jared Talmadge, though, 108 lap old tires. Cody Reed, 108 lap old tires. I'm curious on when they're going to make the call of, all right, we got to pit, because this is the kind of the odd side of the coin, you could say, of the strategy of it works out great coming out of the stage. You're up front, you got the track position, but you still have one more pit stop you have to make before this race is over. You don't have the fuel to make it to the end of this race. Your tires most likely won't make it to the end either. When do you make this final pit stop if you're that 27 and 25? As we get ready to go green, it has been a lot of cautions. It's been a lot of pacing. But man, up front, it is who can get the better launch on this restart. It's been the driver who's been the control vehicle that really has the advantage. But what will fresh tires versus old look like here, as it is a takeoff and go? Jared Talmadge, how well can he defend Vincent Sora and Seth Knoll, who have better tires, have been faster since the start of this race? Well, it doesn't look like there's going to be much competition here quickly, as Seth Knoll almost taken out by Alde Fonseca, and Jared Talmadge holds strong, ripping the top.
I think the thing that's been helping Jarrett Talmadge is all these cautions. He's been able to run these tires as hard as he can. But with these cautions, the temperature rotation that he's been able to do on the tires has kept them decently fresh and decently, grippy for himself. I'm actually really impressed how much speed he has on these 112 lap old tires. Vincent Sora, I think, is still trying to have a little bit of save in it, to have a little, but we have another caution again.
Another caution, and that's another victim we've seen in the past. It's GT Razzari going to be finding himself with an issue, and it looks like it's another self spin, but more assistance as Brian B. Johnson and also Chris Stitz give a little bit of an extra bump to the 14, who's still trying to find his way to be pointing in the right direction. As oh my goodness, GT, please get down low as the field's able to avoid. Oh my goodness, GT, put in a higher gear, please stop full throttling it. I know he's upset, but gosh, you don't gotta kill the field if you're this mad.
Oh man, it's the definition of insanity there. You keep trying the same thing that's not working. Let's try something different here. But just watch GT Arizari here. It seems to be just a self spin, but another caution for him bringing out. We'll have to watch around. He's coming around and sitting around the number 2 here, trying to make moves on the inside. Got a little bit on the apron there. Doesn't seem yet. Just a little too low. Little help from Brian P. Johnson, but he was already a little sideways. Wasn't probably going to spin all the way around, but unfortunate to see. Backed up into the inside wall as well. And then we see the Donuts try to get back up onto this high banks track of Bristol, and just spins it out again. Just needed to take it a little easy on that accelerator to get his car going.
Yeah, you never want to go full throttle going directly up through the banking. Luckily for Seth Knoll, didn't get involved with extra damage. As the field all trying to react on where is the 14 going to go, is it going to spin out in front of us again? Luckily does not, as the field is able to keep themselves under pacing. A few drivers taking this time to go into pit road to get service done. It's going to be Douglas Newbigging into pit road, as well as going to be seeing Joshua Kanata. GT Rosari might be calling it an evening, and he will call it a night. As still out there on track, 4 laps down, Samuel Garcia, one of the only drivers who's a lap down, still out on track, trying to take all the spots that he can. And also, driver caught up in one of our earlier wrecks of the evening, Martin Morales. He got all of his damage repaired, went 19 laps down, still out on track. He's gained 2 spots in 34th place. And with those that are calling it an evening, could be up to 31st position. Could be more if we continue to have wrecks. But Richard, oh man, this is those hard points. Caution after caution comes out. There's no rhythm you're building up throughout the field. This is hard for everyone out there on track for every restart coming forward.
Yeah, it's definitely difficult for these drivers. You want to try to get into a rhythm so you can save the tires, be a better long run pace driver as well. So it's been rough. A lot of these drivers have taken advantage of this. Cody Reed up there in the 5th, 6th position as well, and Jarrett Talmadge leading. So some drivers have benefited, others haven't. We're back under green.
Back to green flag racing. A little bit of a stalled start for Vincent Sora, but he'll back off Seth Knoll, and it gives a huge advantage to Ollie Fonseca in the 24. He'll take 1, thought about taking 2. The 24 continues to rip the top. Where did this speed come from? Ollie's got the space. He's going to rip the top to try to get by Vincent Sora, and Ollie is now up to 2nd place for the 24.
Great work from Ollie Fonseca in the 24 machine, ripping the outside there, gets around Vincent Sora, and Seth Noel is also going to get around Vincent Sora as well to move into the 3rd spot. Vincent on the move backward, but these drivers, they're understanding that cautions are coming out left and right, so get the speed in, get the moves you can, get the positions you can, because, you know, based on the way this race has been going, another caution could come up in the next 5 to 10 laps, but I think Vincent Sora is still sticking to his guns about trying to have a long range or long run pace and save those tires for later in the run.
Cody Reed, 25, still on 120 plus old lap tires. Same for Jared Talmadge. This 25 is in a lot more of a dangerous position, as now we're going to be seeing multiple drivers slamming the wall, just following in the tire tracks of wherever Cody goes. The dirty air kind of just pulls the drivers behind you. And so if you get in that close to that outside wall, most likely the drivers behind are going to slam it. As Andrew Medlin trying to force the issue. Hard contact with a 0-0 of Noel. They'll continue to fight side by side, but there's the tight squeeze, and somehow they don't wreck there. But Andrew Medlin, there he goes. Tapped and spun, continuing to keep it on the outside wall. Gavin Rogers also involved, and we continue to stay straight. No caution is thrown.
No caution is thrown, but Andrew Medlin just randomly slowed way down there, which caused some major incident there with Larry Yingling, but these drivers have still kept their cars straight, and we're still under green flag racing. Impressive work by everybody.
Yeah, I think right there, Medlin wasn't sure if he had steering or not, wanted to slow down enough. Unfortunately, the drivers behind weren't expecting to be brake checked on a straightaway, and they continue to race on somehow, and this is the helpfulness. If you pitted for tires, a wreck that didn't bring out a caution is prime green flag racing because it splits the field up. There's now spacing, and Richard, it's time for that long green flag run. Who saves their tires? Who even has tires? It's time to see who can climb through the field.
Yeah, it's going to see who's going to finally start making some charge forwards with their fresh tires and see how long Jarrett Talmadge can maintain this lead. He's got a 2/10 lead over Ollie Fonseca still, but 127 lap old tires, they're going to start fading from him as Ryan Kelly looks to the inside of Christopher Norris. He's going to try to make a move to pass Norris, and it looks like he's got the position, not able to clear him, but I believe we'll have the spot in the inside lane, but Norris still fighting hard on that outside.
Also saw there Gavin Rogers, Chris Stitz, Cody Reed, 3 wide for a quick moment. Cody Reed continues to just fall. He needs a caution badly to get some fresh rubber. I think for Cody, he's realizing the mistakes of staying out as long as he did. really being forced and pushed around at this moment. If we stay clean and green, he's going to have trouble. As ahead of him, contact of going to be Christopher Norris, Ryan Kelly, Brian P. Johnson, as the 3 and the 38 continue to get into the outside wall. Also seen here is Zach Hall, Brian Noel, Shane Tarian. They're having their own battles between one another, and this is all battling for 10th place position, but I got a feeling if we're going to see a wreck, it's most likely going to be for this 14th place, because Ryan Kelly is starting to get fed up on where this 38 is, as Norris's tires just seem to be wavering away, and I don't know if he's going to have the tires to stay up front as long as he can. But speaking of up front, Ollie Fonseca able to make the pass for the lead.
Ollie Fonseca to the lead. Impressive work for the 24. That is something we don't see very often, and Ollie is leading here at Bristol. Oh, great work to get that pass with Seth Noel still riding right behind him, trying to make a move. He's going to look to the inside, but not enough momentum as he takes to the inside, and Ollie's still in the out.
And Vincent Sora, he's starting to charge as well, as Seth Noel going to be trying his best on the inside, not able to really make that pass work at all. They're going to be starting to squeeze up, though, at the apex of the corner. That's where we're seeing Ollie really lose all the pace. It's off the exit of the corner where he just keeps that nose ahead. But Seth Noel just looks so much faster on entry and center. It's that exit that I'm worried about, but Vincent Sora on the inside trying to poke the nose and almost gets to the rear quarter panel of the 88. This is getting dangerous for those that are behind our top two, as Ollie gets put close to the wall, comes down to the 88. They use each other to keep it together.
And the 88 forced Ollie up into the wall, is able to get around him, and now Ollie Fonseca is getting pinched to the wall by Vincent Sora, but Ollie lost the lead to 2 positions back to 3rd. Vincent Sora almost gets into the quarter panel of the 88 machine as he's looking to try to take the lead from Seth.
I mean, I'm curious, if you're Vincent Sora, you just saw how this 88 took the lead. Are you willing to use that similar move to get to the inside, wrestle the 88 close to that outside wall, or are you going to be trying to make the pass as cleanly as possible? Based on what I've seen from Sora in the past and his racing style, he's going to try to make this as clean as he can, minimize as many mistakes or as many incident points as possible. But if you're this 88 at Seth Noel, you just learn, hey, I can wrestle the feathers of drivers around me, and I might get away with it clean.
Yeah, I mean, you can get away with it clean, but you're definitely not making friends at all. People know that's how you want to race to get a position. They're going to do the same thing to you. Vincent Sora right onto the bumper of Seth Noel. There he is looking to try to take this lead. He wants that clean air. He wants to be able to drive the car without any disruption, and he's doing everything he can to try to get around Seth, but doing it as patiently and cleanly as possible.
As much as they can. They've got one lap driver ahead of them. That's going to be seen Samuel Garcia. He drops the apron, gets out of the way. It's going to be side by side. Sora to the inside groove. Noel still outside trying his best. We're starting to see the inside of Vincent Sora. Just was so close, with the extra pinch on the center off enables the 88 to keep this top position. There's a few more lucky duck drivers that want to get in the mix that are behind Ollie Fonseca, Drew Jua, Brian Douglas Newbegin, who's a lap down. Douglas Newbegin in that 7 just pitted for tires. He is going with the extra aggressive pit stop, hoping this race goes green. Watch on how this 7 tries to make his way through, because he took the gamble of just 2 tires for himself.
2 tires is a very interesting strategy, but it can work sometimes. But he has got some fresh rubber, going to try to make his way back up through the field, get a lap back naturally. But even pitting and going for the over-aggressive strategy here, I mean, it's even if he gets the lucky dog, he's still going to be behind these leaders that have to pit for tires if a yellow comes out. But interesting strategy. We'll see if it could work out for him, but his teammate's still trying to get around Ollie Fonseca. Ollie is just being a pest right now for anybody trying to get around him. His car is definitely 2 to 3 lanes wide.
Trying their best currently to make any move possible. That update on Christopher Norris and Ryan Kelly. Norris has fallen all the way back to 17th position. Kelly continues to march his way forward, battling currently for 12th position. Giorgio, Ollie Fonseca, they continue to go back and forth. So Douglas Newbegin, who is 7 laps down where he wants to go, is Kelly with the quick run on the inside. Gavin Rogers, where can this 75 go? You can tell he wants to rip the top, but there's Brian P. Johnson in the troublesome position where the fast lane might be being held up by a slower driver. And you're just hoping, please move lanes. Let me just continue to run my pace, my rhythm. I might have to throw it away to go to the inside. And there goes Gavin Rogers going for the pass.
Gavin Rogers going to take the fresher tires, try to get around Brian P. Johnson here on the inside. The inside starting to show a little bit more speed in these later runs because a lot of drivers have been up on that outside. They've rubbered it up. They've put a little heat in that outside lane. That inside lane probably going to have a little bit more grip now, little bit less rubber, a lot less temperature. So Gavin Rogers able to make that pass nice, clean, and very as quick as you possibly can. And he's finally around Brian P. Johnson. He's going to try to make his charge forward now as well.
Here, can you place yourself? Update on Douglas Newbegin. What happened to the 7 machine when we were just about to go green? Actually had packet loss issues, was disconnected out of the server, got reconnected, took tires, got back out on track. That's the reason why the 7 is currently 8 laps down and trying to get one of his laps back the hard way. Here's that racing action of Brian P. Johnson, Chris Stitz, 13th on back that are racing hard. As Brian Noel trying to get by the 28 of Johnson, who continues to flounder going backwards. Same for Kelly. Their over aggressiveness early in this run starting to backfire for the both of them. Here's other battles that are happening for position. For 17th, Manazzi Major, Colin Carroll. They're going back and forth with also Justin Malarkey in the mix. Malarkey in the 73 has been caught up in so many wrecks. Same for the 4, yet they are still on the lead lap and battling for position.
That is impressive to see, as many wrecks as they have been involved in so far in this race, and still on the lead lap and racing around each other at that. So these guys have done a great job. They've been able to minimize the amount of time they have to spend on pit road, got the damage they needed, but number 4 is up into Manazzi Major, and another caution will come out with Manazzi Major and the number 4 causing this one.
Oh, they were so aggressive, but just one simple mistake, pushing high, clipping Major, and away they go around, bringing out the late caution. And this puts the whole entire field in a spot where you're most likely, everyone's pitting for tires, fuel. You know you're good to the end. And there's the contact that brings out the yellow Major going to the inside wall. And being sideways right there is going to bring out the yellow flag. And I mean, Richard, we got a little bit of a green flag run. It started out because of a wreck that didn't bring out a yellow. I got a feeling we're going to be seeing a little bit more chaos ramping up before this thing's done.
Yeah, I do believe we'll see a lot more chaos before the end of this race now that everybody's getting back together. And I mean, without a doubt, the entire field looks like they're coming down and getting tires and fuel. This could potentially be the last pit stop of the night. If we go green the rest of the race, this will be the last pit stop of the night for all these drivers, but we'll have to see who decides that, you know, fresh rubber is more important than anything else if more cautions come out. But these drivers doing this one pit lane entrance all the way around the track, and Seth Knoll about to dive into his pit box with Vincent Sora as well to see who takes 2 tires. I think Vincent Sora, it'd be a smart decision for him to just take 2 tires. He's got the the least amount of laps on his tires. Take 2, get out there, get the fresh air in front of the 88, and you should be able to hold this lead from the rest of the drivers.
2 tires going to be the call for multiple people. Going to be Seth Knoll, first driver leaving pit road. And actually, I take that back. He's the only driver I'm seeing on my charts. There's Brian Noel, another Lucky Ducks driver, taking 2. Rest of the field, 4 tires and a fuel, 1. Gambling for it all. Joshua Kanata, who pitted 42 laps ago, caught up in earlier wrecks. Going to be staying out, gets a lap-led bonus point, and as well will try to be the leader, hoping for a lot of quick cautions. And the gamble is on for the 16. The reason why we might see this gamble, we just saw Jared Talmadge and Cody Reed be out there for 156 laps without pitting. Now, that was a lot of cautions coming up early in those first 96, 97 laps before we got our long green flag run. I'm curious on for this 16, where will the tires be? How will this restart land? Because this could be a chaotic one that we're about to see on this restart. It's Joshua Kanata on 43 lap old tires going up against Seth Knoll, who just took 2 tires. Vincent Sora, Drew Jua behind him in row number 2, 4 tires for the both of them. Then Brian Noel took 2. Ali Fonseca gonna take 4, and it's on. Old tires versus new, and Joshua Kanata backs out of it immediately. It's the battle between Vincent Sora and Noel. Gonna be off the exit of turn number 2, and it's Vincent Sora with the nose. Noel with the run. Momentum for the 88, but Sora with the block on the front stretch.
Huge block from Vincent Sora to keep the lead as Joshua Kanata did back out. I think he just wanted the one extra bonus point for leading a lap, and he got it. But he backs out, lets the leaders race this out on fresh tires. Vincent Sora on the outside, Seth Noel trying to look to the inside to get a run on him to get the pass, but these two battling it out on fresh tires, but 2 tires for Seth Noel. We'll have to see how that plays out as he takes a huge dive to the inside.
Another huge dive, but at least he's on the inside. He's forcing Vincent Sora to just continue to use up these tires on that outside groove. As the run progresses, the 88 will have the bigger advantage to work with, but Vincent Sora, no contact! Sora to the outside! Rest of the field avoids! Caution is out!
And a huge hit from Seth Knoll takes out Vincent Sora. Sora slides up, smacks the outside wall. That's going to be a bit of damage for him. And those tires are going to be warm now as well. We'll have to see what really transpired here. But impressive work by, again, everybody. Nobody getting into Vincent Sora. He was able to keep that car pretty flat against the outside wall. But, oh man, great racing turns into just an unfortunate situation for these 2 drivers.
And it's going to be a net code, making it look a lot worse. But Vincent Sora trying his best to just close off this very small window. It's going to be on the entry of turn 3. Massive run for the 51. As here we go off the exit of turn 4. Here's the setup. Seth Knoll trying his best, stay down low, but Vincent Sora with the better run tries to cover off that entry, and Knoll doesn't back off. Slight contact, but the big push off was the netcode just ricocheting the 51 to that outside wall, and that hitting the wall at the angle that the 51 did. I'm nervous on how much damage Sora picked up. He's going to be placed back in 9th position, and it's curious on if we're going to see Sora going to pit road. Doesn't look like he's going to currently. He'll continue to stay out. He'll try to minimize the amount of damage he's picked up, but taking the right on board top view of the 88. I mean, Richard, what's your thoughts on this one? Because this is some Bristol hard racing.
It is definitely some hard racing from 2 really fast drivers, and I don't know if that was netcode or not. It did look like a little bit of contact between the 88 and the 51, so unfortunate. That is definitely got to be some irritation from Vincent Sora to be leading like that and to be just not be able to get to the inside lane fast enough and then get hit in the rear end by the guy you've been racing really hard and clean with. So unfortunate to see. Hopefully not a lot of damage for Vincent Sora. It was a heavy hit. We'll have to see what he can do and if he can make his way back up to the field.
Oh, I completely agree on the fact that there was contact. I'm just curious on if it was netcode that maybe pushed it out further. It was a very slight contact. The balloon's out. We got people in the chat chatting with us. I know we talked about seeing Lenny out there rooting for Cody. We've also got Ray rooting for Larry Yingling. And our favorite driver who comments with us throughout a race. He runs in second, Drew Jua, saying, hey, I'm second. Yes, you are, Drew. You've had a couple of moments here tonight, but ultimately you are now up to second position. We'll see how well this 77 is going to hold, because there's a lot of Lucky Duck drivers that are now up front. 3 of them. It's Seth Knoll, Drew Jua, Brian Noel going to be boxing in the 24 of Holly Fonseca. Then you got Jared Talmadge and Brian McCann back in row number 3. How well are they going to be able to search their way forward, or is it just too much of a wall to get by as green flag is out in the air for Knoll? Drew Jua going to be trying to rip the top. Brian Noel recognizing that he needs to get in front of the 24 and make it a 3-horse Lucky Ducks run. As contact first going to be Jared Talmadge, other driver sliding, and it's the big one through 3 and 4 as the whole entire field has to come to a halt as they're coming to gridlock for a quick moment.
Man, that looked like a lot of self spins that kind of transpired into a parking lot there. Vincent Sora getting involved again in another wreck, and this time I think just nosed into the wall as well. So some big damage to the front end of the 51 machine. We'll swat right along here from the top-down view of everybody, kind of see what happened. Saw a little bit of looseness from 27. Yeah, 27 get a little loose going into the turn. And 2 drivers, Nico and Shane Terry, and teammates getting sideways at the same time. And then just a huge hit to Stitz there from Vincent Sora. Oh, man. And then it's just a parking lot behind it all.
Yeah, Nico and others piling in. Chris Stitz, though, the worst spot to be hit, right in the wheel well. And that is our first required damage flag. That is not for a blown engine. And that's 17 is forced to pit road. Required damage is a flag that's given out. That is a black flag with an orange circle that is thrown to drivers where iRacing deems you must come to pit road and get this damage repaired. You are unsafe to be out there on track. As we take another look at this incident from Justin Malarkey, Cody Reed's point of view, they're seeing everyone piling in the 73. I mean, if you're gonna spin, that's the way you want to spin. Avoids everybody. Was that 73 machine with the slide?
Not just avoiding everybody, but he kept that car off the barrels, which would have been a massive hit. So impressive work from Justin Malarkey there, staying off everybody, including the barrels. An insane slide and very little damage for himself, but he's going to come in, get some fresh tires, because those tires have been warmed up, and that's not what you want.
Absolutely not, as this is our 16th caution of the day out of 171 laps. It's a lot of cautions to see. We don't like to see it, but we've gotten a little bit of a green flag run in the middle portion of this race, but 16 cautions, that crosses the threshold of the most cautions ever thrown here in WSSR history. The most previous to that was 14 back in season 7. That was back when they were racing the ARCA car with the Gen 4 engine in it. That was kind of the prototype season to, let's try something new. 14 cautions, because if you tap someone, they were going around. It was a very tough race where Chris Stitz got the pole, John Force won. We were in 111 laps that day. Tonight, we are running the most laps that we have ran since the initial Bristol race in the WSSR VRS Cup Series. Back in Season 3, they ran 250 laps that day. That Season 7 caution-filled race was the second highest. Tonight, we will get to our second highest, as we've got 225 laps to complete. We've got overtime if it's needed to add a few more if necessary. Seth Knoll, Drew Jua, gonna be your top runners, with Ali Fonseca in third, Brian Noel gonna be in fourth, and it's kind of a flipped action as the drivers behind our top four. We'll see how well they can react as green flag is back out in the air. Knoll with a great launch. Ali Fonseca trying to keep his nose to Drew Jua for second place. His nose is at that rear quarter panel, but it's Drew Jua with the power, and it's Ryan Kelly into the outside wall for the 3 as everyone has to react behind him.
Well, Ryan Kelly getting into the outside wall shaves a ton of speed off. Everybody has to slow down. A massive checkup to that outside line, but there's filed back up. They're still keeping it straight and green. Oh man, these drivers still rocking that outside line, trying to get that momentum, get that working for them, get as many positions as you can, since it's been a caution-filled race. I mean, every position matters, especially when a caution comes out, but Ryan Kelly's still trying to fight back and get those positions back and get back up front with these guys.
Well, we got to get back to the lead position, because they're swapped on the way they were when Seth Knoll got the light lead as a wrecking behind, and Ollie not able to get the lead position as drivers come to a halt going through 1 and 2. Richard, where did you see that wreck start out from? Because it seemed like it was right where our camera was.
Brian McCann in the number 8 got turned on the front stretch. Oh man, unfortunate again. And Christopher Norris also involved, drove into the side of the number 8 machine. Got turned by Nick Crawford there, just down to the inside, and then back up the track, collecting Brian P. Johnson and Christopher Norris. Unfortunate situation, just people trying to take as much space as they can on the track, and then they take too much, and then you get an incident like that.
Yeah, you do. And we're now less than 50 laps to go in this race, so every position matters so much. Right on board with Christopher Norris as drivers were trying to figure out where to go. And you can see with this ride along, I mean, there's just a train of drivers on the outside. You're trying to keep pace. There's the wreck. You go to the outside, and oh, there's a car. Nowhere to go for Norris.
Yeah, it was just an unfortunate situation for Norris there. There's no way he could predict that car is going to come up the track on him like that. It just came out of nowhere also. I've experienced situations like that as well out on the track, and yeah, Norris's steering is definitely broke. His steering wheel is pointed to the right, and that is not what you want on these cars.
Not at all, as he's trying to sprint his way through pit road to get into his box, as Brian P. Johnson gets into his box as well. As up front, Seth Knoll, Ollie Fonseca, right before that caution flag came out, I was just about to say, they were swapped. Ollie Fonseca, initially when we were under green flag conditions, Knoll got the lead spot, being on the inside, forcing that 24 into the outside wall through the corners, and easily was able to breeze by. Ollie, that go around right before the yellow came out, he was on the inside trying to pressure the 88 close to that outside wall. If you're Seth Knoll, this 24 seems to be feisty. He knows this is his best opportunity to get a win before we get to Talladega for the last race of the regular season. And also for Ollie, he enters tonight 20th in points. He had a massive surge after last week's race of a 6-point upgrade. He went up 6 positions from where he was after Las Vegas. I mean, before Las Vegas last week. And another great finish for the 24 can honestly propel him even closer to the cut line without a win. You got to think for this 24. I mean, Richard, you see the win right in front of you, but is it hard not to just think big picture and let's just get a good finish tonight at least?
I mean, as a driver, when you're sitting up there and you've had the pace to potentially make it to the lead, I mean, it's hard to not think about grabbing that win, especially when it locks you into the playoffs. But for Ali Fonseca, a lot of the challengers, around him in points, they've all gotten into a lot of wrecks tonight. So, I mean, just playing cool-headed and getting a top 5 for Ollie, that's going to really propel those points forward and get him further to that cut line.
Certainly could. I want to give updates of some of the drivers that are still out on track that have been dealing with damage so far this evening. Mark Morales, he started out tonight 19 laps down, being involved in one of our earlier wrecks, one of our first 2, and he sat in pit road, got all the damage repaired, got back out there on track. He went from 36 up to 29th. Samuel Garcia, who's been caught up in a couple of wrecks, he's now up to 28th. Ben Kinney, who we've seen caught up in a lot of massive wrecks, he's up to 30th now. Those guys are still out on track trying to gain every spot possible with Chris Stitz out of this race. There's a few more to be grabbed potentially here. As drivers are stacked up, wait for the pace car to pull off. It is Seth Knoll, Ali Fonseca. Where is the aggression level for the 24? Or will the 88 see some allies and teammates help him out get into victory lane here tonight? Gray flag back in the air. It's Knoll. Good run, but a quick caution is trouble in the middle of the field.
More trouble with the number 4 and the number 2 machine right off the restart. These drivers are just losing patience, it seems. They're just wrecking after wreck after wreck. So unfortunate to see right off a restart. You don't want to see that happen at all, but it's definitely back with the number 4 on the restart.
Yeah, looks like it was the 4 and also going to be the 2 getting involved, as the 2 of Joshua Corner not getting up to speed as quickly as the 71 of Nico Garcia would like. It gives a tap and away they go. And, we call the race here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting on Tuesday nights of the BRB Kicker Cup Series. And Richard, I mean, this is an issue we've seen on Tuesday nights of drivers giving a lot of space, not taking off immediately. And it looks like trouble strikes the back half of the field. Those that were ready to go, not able to, as the Bristol going to be TV blocks every view of what that incredible shot would have been.
I love that big old Bristol screen in the middle of the track, but when it comes to iRacing and having those higher up cameras, it kind of gets in the way at times. But yeah, we'll have to watch here. But massive space there, and yeah, like you said, we race in the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series on Tuesday nights, and there's an issue we have there as well. Just a lot of space. It's just unnecessary. I mean, just Nico Garcia ready to go. The number 2 was just not ready to go, it seemed, and just got spun. And Kevin Rogers getting into Ben Keeney. It looks like they're also spinning him up into the field. Oh, man.
And more contact going around. And something I have never seen happen in a league race. We were curious. iRacing implemented a new system in these last couple of major updates. It is known as a connection issue pit stop. It forces drivers off the track. If you are having connection issues, if you are having software issues, iRacing will rip you off the track and force you into pit road. Vincent Sora was just thrown in. This is the first time I've ever seen this penalty in a league race. It's the notification from race control of iRacing saying driver of Vincent Sora in the car 51 has been sent to pit road due to connection issues. Richard, that is a first for me, and it just continues to pile on the issues that Vincent Sora has after being spun around battling for the lead.
Yeah, this is a night that Vincent Sora also is going to want to forget about. And that is a first for me as well. I did not think that connection pit road thing was in the league sessions. I know it's in officials. I've seen it there once or twice, but in a league race, I don't think I've ever seen it in league or a hosted session. So that's a first for me. Unfortunate for Vincent Sora. He's definitely going to be looking forward to next week.
Definitely will be, and he has to stay in pit road. I think also he just has so much damage, he'll just accept sitting in pit road. As pace car is off, green flag is out, and it is not the go button that Ollie Fonseca was wanting. Drew Jua, Seth Knoll, they take off and go. This 24 needs to get a little bit more of a giddy up off the exit of turn 2, and he gets it. Assistance of Knoll kind of blocking Drew Jua. The 24 is back in the mix for the fight for the lead.
Fonseca is not giving up on this chance to win this race, and he gets a little bit into the 77.
Oh,
77's
no,
going to go around in front of the field. He's going to spin a team out from 0-0 and Ryan Kelly as well.
Oh, the teammates of Lucky Ducks. They go around for a spin. Fonseca's aggression. Well, there were 3 of them. Now there's just one that lies, and it's Seth Knoll leading this race. We'll see where iRacing is going to deem both the 77 and the 0-0 as they're trying to race up and grab some of their positions back. But, oh, here we go again. Another, that's kind of after the Ollie pressure. I don't know if there was contact between the 24 and the 77 going into the corner, but obviously loosened up the 77. It was undrivable off the exit of turn number 2 and collecting multiple drivers. But Richard, here's your thoughts on the incident as I sign as we go into these corners.
Yeah, Ollie Fonseca here. He's trying to keep that second position. He didn't really do anything wrong there. Look, he just kind of kept his lane. And I think the 77 of Drew Jewell was just expecting him to be a little lower. But, I mean, one thing we missed under the caution, though, Drew Jewell drove back up and gave Ollie Fonseca a little push into the bumper there. But, yeah, he got high there, and he just kind of got loose after he got on the wall a little bit. So, unfortunate for Drew Jewell, plus the 0-0 of Brian Noel. 2 Lucky Duck drivers getting taken out by this situation. Not taken out because the 77 Drew Jewell is back up there. But, yeah, it didn't really look too terrible from Ollie Fonseca's side. I guess just Drew Jewell was not expecting where Ollie was going to be.
And currently, Drew Jewell, he's still riding up front in our top 4. He's side by side with Shane Tarian. And he will continue to linger there. And drivers are over the radio trying to get damage repair. They're a little frustrated between one another. And this is what short track racing kind of does here tonight. I mean, it builds up, and drivers were already kind of furious after last week's race at Las Vegas. Some of the moves that were made with how this dirty air kind of has changed racing into being a lot more of an aggressive, atmosphere that you have to do with these next gens. It's no longer about saving tires or being the quickest at times. It's can you find the clean air, which causes drivers to get a little bit more antsy. As up front, Seth Knoll, Ollie Fonseca, Drew Jewell going to be up front, but Shane Tarian, Nick Crawford, Jared Talmadge, Thomas Green, Cody Reed, Zach Hall, Kyle Rochelle going to be your top 10. But honestly, it's the 9 and the 74. Where did they come from? As we haven't really talked about them at all, except for battling just outside of the top 10. What speed does Shane have? What does Nick have? Or is it strictly just our top 3? Do we see Drew Jewell retaliate anymore? Does Ollie Fonseca throw up those elbows a little bit higher? It's time to find out. His green flag is back into the air, and Seth Knoll did it go. Fonseca's got the lead.
Oh, man, Ollie Fonseca looked like he shot out of a cannon, but it looked like Seth Knoll just started in the wrong gear, just didn't go. I hope that's not a restart violation. I hope that it was a green flag drop when Ollie... But,
trouble
massive
behind.
wreck. Rochelle getting into Zachary Hall as well, and they're still wrecking. Hall coming down, getting into Brian McCann. McCann up into the outside wall.
And Ollie has been given a black flag on top of this wreck. And it was Jared Talmadge. I mean, he just got loose in the middle of the field, and everyone trying to react to get around him.
Oh, man, just another wreck on a restart, and unfortunate to see for Ollie Fonseca getting the black flag. I think he just over-anticipated the restart there. But we had a blink from Cody Reed there, and it just looked like 27 of Talmadge just got a little loose by himself, and it just caused a stack up, and ahead of him, Zach Hall looked like he came down into Brian McCann later down the straightaway.
And Zach Hall required damage for himself. He'll be joining the mix as Ollie Fonseca. Let's take another look at this. It's just looking like the driver going into the corner, trying to keep the speed going, and what in the world happened there? I mean, re-looking at it, I mean, he got loose, might have overcorrected too soon, and just like jitter stepped around the 27. But everyone else, once again, it's the aftermath of the initial spin that builds the most carnage. As Zach Hall's day, looking like it was going to be a top 10 run, he's now out of this. He's done. Hall entered tonight with one of the probably kind of similar to Ali Fonseca, where he just needs a good finish. Hall was 22nd in points, and if he gets another bad finish here tonight, Hall could be looking at a must-win scenario to even make it into the playoffs. Here, 2 seasons out away from his championship run back in season 9, we could be seeing Hall miss the playoffs.
Yeah, that's going to be, that's not something he wants to be put into. You never want to be in a must-win situation, especially being a prior champion, not even 2 seasons ago. So, oh, man, unfortunate luck for Zach Hall tonight. He had a lot of speed, qualified extremely well, and just kind of involved in the situations that really was none of his fault.
And we're starting to get some more reports. And Drew Jua felt like it was net code. Hit him on his screen. He felt like he was driven up into the wall. And from our point of view, it wasn't. That's kind of the weird thing of racing virtually, is you just never know what you're going to see. For one driver, it's different from what another is. As we're seeing drivers trying to get ready for this restart, we are aware that there are connection issues going on. We're hoping it gets cleaned up before we go green here.
Yeah, you definitely don't want connection issues, especially on restarts, because when a car disappears, you never know when they're going, and they could be in front of you. So, but pace car is down.
And I don't know if you're going to be able to hear us. We're going to hope to get some type of this action recorded, but we will be back as Hawley has to go serve his penalty now.
Ali Fonseca taking to the inside, getting that drive-through penalty for himself for jumping the start and passing before the start finish. So, unfortunate for Ali Fonseca, a heroic run for himself is now a 0 run for him. He's going to get lapped here as he exits the first set of pit lane.
I believe that we might be back, because we were having a real crazy moment there with connections. Ali Fonseca just went into pit road. He had to serve his drive-through penalty for jumping the start. Seth Knoll able to take off and go. Drew Jua, after being involved with that earlier wreck, we continue to race on, but caution is out, and it's the 0-0 and tossed around. And oh boy, we've got 25 laps to go, but yet it is not over at all here tonight.
No, it's definitely not over, and this is the whole, cautions breed cautions. We are seeing it in live action right now. It just seems these guys, when they get bunched up again, they just can't seem to keep off each other, or just getting loose and self-spinning themselves. So it's been a very rough race for these drivers tonight, and they are all ready for this one to be over with. They want to get the racing. They don't like this pacing that they've been doing.
Yeah, and update on Ali Fonseca. He has served his penalty, but he is 2 laps down with that caution being thrown. Kristitz, Zach Hall, Vincent Sora all still with required damage flags. Vincent Sora hoping to get his connection issues figured out and back out on course. He's just gotten back into the server. Drivers up front, Seth Knoll, Drew Jua, they continue to lead up front with Shane Terry and Thomas Green. Cody Reed, your top 5. With Kyle Rochelle, Nick Crawford, Justin Malarkey is 8th, Nico Garcia 9th, and Colin Carroll. How is this tank still alive? As the 4 is in 10th place currently. We got 21 drivers on the lead lap at this moment, and it was a self-spin by the 0-0 that brought out that caution. And yeah, I mean, it really does feel like self-spins have been the major, I would say about 67% of the wrecks. It's been a small duration of drivers just putting the chrome horn to one another. That's been the other issue that's popped up.
Yeah, there really hasn't been a lot of major incidents caused by another driver. It's just been getting on the gas a little bit too much, or getting on the brake a little bit too much, and getting that car a little unsettled and just sends it around. Now, they might collect other drivers in the process, but I mean, it was just a self-spin. They weren't hit by another driver. Man, it's just this new update has really made every single one of these drivers basically relearn this next gen NASCAR race car. So it's been fun to watch. I mean, it's been painful also, but I mean, it's a whole new car for these drivers to learn between the Aero and the new tire model.
certainly is, but only 21 drivers so far here tonight on the lead lap. Gavin Rogers, Bradby Johnson, Joshua Kanata, corner. Noel going to be the driver 17th and 21st at this time. Up front, it's Lucky Ducks sweeping the front row, but who can try to shatter those two drivers' dreams of finishing 1-2? Well, to find out, first two with the chance, going to be Shane Tarian and Thomas Green. Cody Reed on the inside groove. What speed will he have? And also Kyle Rochelle, 41. I haven't seen winning pace, but what pace has he left underneath them? With 20 laps to go here at Bristol, race number 8 is back underway. It's gonna be a good launch by the 88. What does the 77 have on the outside? Groove Drew Jewell with a big run for himself. He'll continue to ride high on the outside. Shane Tarian, Thomas Green, exit out of 4. They'll still stay side by side, almost contact, battling for third.
Contact indeed. Thomas Green is making that outside work. He is looking for a back-to-back win tonight, but he's still side by side with Shane Tarian, who is making that inside work. But he's got his teammate Nico Garcia a little further back, also trying to make the inside work as well. Almost gets up in the Nick Crawford, but we got a challenge for the lead almost. No, looks like 77 is going to stay behind Seth Knoll. Drew Jewell not quite ready to make that move quite yet. He's going to keep Thomas Green and Shane Tarian behind him.
You take every opportunity you can, and right now Thomas Green has just been ripping the top and staying out of trouble. Shane Tarian, though, in 4th place, almost gets stopped by Cody Reed, almost runs into the 31 of Thomas Green. It is just constant chaos for those that are trying to get at the outside groove, and this is exactly what Seth Knoll wants to see. Everyone behind him is running the top. He's running the bottom and still staying ahead. You're in the faster lane, but you're not catching the 88 with 15 laps to go.
15 laps to go. This race is winding down, and Seth Knoll is starting to put a little bit of distance between him and Drew Jewell. Drew Jewell trying to save a little bit, maybe have a little left in the tank to catch him. But they're on the top 5 on the same 55 lap old tires. The next two on 24 lap old tires, that of Kyle Rochelle and Justin Malarkey. So these 55 lap old tires, we'll see what these top 5 can do. But they're starting to stretch out still. I mean, a little bit of chaos near the back, a little bit of a beehive, but Seth Noel just doing a great job extending that lead from his teammate Drew Jewell.
Continues to rip the bottom, and it's really been the restarts where a driver has an opportunity to get to his bumper, to get to the inside. But when we are clean and green, all of the competition that once was challenging this the 88 are out of this race or are dealing with too much damage. As right at this moment, if we're going to see a caution, it could be at this realm. Jared Talmadge, Justin Malarkey, Nico Garcia, just trying to finish with the best that they can. Jared Talmadge, who had been challenging up front, was one of the biggest gamblers at the stage break. Didn't pit until lap 157 for the first time here tonight. It took him so long to finally take that chance, but now with fresh rubber, it is seeing Jared Talmadge up to 7th place. There's a long road to go with 10 laps to go. It might be disappearing as the 73 and the 4. Got to be careful. Same with Nico Garcia as Malarkey and Garcia just almost door banging, and Colin Carroll seeing a chance as they go back and forth on where they want to pressure. We're also starting to see a little bit of pressure for those for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, battling for who can be in the top 3.
It has been a game of survival tonight. There are some cars that have been involved in wrecks, but you got the top 4 who have been the class above all up here in front, kind of running away with this race, still trying to make moves. Thomas Green, huge dive to the inside, tried to get to the quarter panel of Drew Jewell, but not able to get there quite yet. He's trying to get up to the side of him to try and get that run, but he's still got to worry about Shane Tarian, who is chasing him down also right behind.
And while we were right on board with the 9 machine and seeing the great back and forth battles that were happening, Seth Knoll was trying different lanes. He was going up high, he was going down low, trying to find the speed to keep him ahead. He's running a 10th, the 2/10 faster than anyone that is close to him in the top 5. And this is some wicked speed. Seth Knoll up here late, just needed a green flag run, and he is proving why he's so much faster. But you gotta be careful because we're not done yet. Yes, it's about to be 4 laps to go, but lap traffic is in front. They're getting out of the way. Christopher Norris is gonna be running low. Knoll is appreciative as the drivers further on back continue to race back and forth. Nico Garcia, Colin Carroll, they're side by side. Ryan Kelly and Nick Crawford are side by side, and each lap that passes, Knoll just hopes to see the white flag in the checker.
It's the one flag he's hoping to see next is the white flag. He doesn't want to see a yellow flag come out because that's going to group that 2.2 second lead he has. It will diminish it, but he is running the fastest car on the track right now, extending that lead 10th after 10th, extending, trying to get to that white flag as fast as he possibly can.
And he is looking up the flag stand here as he's exiting out of turn number 4. Lap traffic ahead, that's going to be seen corner. He'll stay high, slows down just for a moment, but it doesn't matter. It's your freaky fast white flag up in the air for Seth Knoll. He'd been searching for this win all season long. Thought it was going to happen earlier on in the season. It doesn't matter anymore. Race 8, Seth Knoll, the 88, is into victory lane.
Great run for Seth Knoll, and they're going 3 wide further back to try to get to the line as well between Manazzi Major and Nick Crawford, but a great win from Seth Knoll and an almost 3-second gap to his team of Drew Drua. Shane Terrian finishing 3rd and Thomas Green 4th. Jarrett Talmadge able to recover to top 5.
Incredible runs all around for the field as this 88 proved late. He was untouchable after Vincent Sora was taken out and was thrown to the wolves of the internet connections of iRacing. This 88 had really no one else that was close. Ali Fonseca tried, gets caught with having trouble on those restart violations. And ultimately, it's Seth Knoll, race 8 in the 88. The numbers align. Enjoy this one. As for us, though, in the booth, we will step away. When we come back, we got the post-race show. We'll talk to our top 3, Seth Knoll, Drew Jua, Shane Terrian, get their thoughts on tonight's race from Bristol. It's been a pleasure giving you the call. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the post-race show of the WSSR VRS Cup Series for Season 11, Race 8 from Bristol. Certainly had its ups and downs here this evening, but Seth Knoll proved at the end of the day this 88 was the fastest driver left out on track. Seth, it's Sam and Richard up in the booth. Congratulations on your win. The numbers kind of aligned. Race 8 in the 88. You get it done here this evening, but it certainly wasn't easy to get the win there. How are you feeling after this incredible charge?
feel okay, I guess. I mean, that was just a kind of a crap fest. I just ended up on the right end of it. Um, Tried to help Drew and Brian and get up there, and then Ollie kind of started messing that up when he was kind of touring us up the track. So I had to kind of shuffle him. So that put us, and poor Brian got screwed out of that. But we got me and Drew 1-2 and got the should have been Tiltify car. I ran the wrong manufacturer tonight. So that's why the scheme was a little funky. But appreciate them all season hopping on, and hopefully if I run again, I can pick the right car.
Yeah, fantastic run showing the prowess of your skill tonight in that 88 machine. I mean, Ali Fonseca was definitely challenging you guys really heavy there. Were you what happened on that last restart where Ollie just kind of shot out of a cannon and got the black flag? Did you kind of play with his head a little bit to get him to do that?
Yeah, he had been timing all the restarts, like 4 or 5 of them in a row. So I'm like, all right, I told Drew, all right, here we go. This is it. This is the one. He's going to jump it. And sure enough, he jumped it and gave himself a black flag, which just made it a lot easier for all of us to kind of manage our restarts because everyone else was driving a lot more clean and not bodying each other up the track. We were more so driving like a normal line in the corner.
Well, fantastic racing from you, Seth, tonight, and I mean it's getting closer to the end of the season. You finally got your win. You're pretty much going to lock you into the playoffs. So how are you going to approach the rest of the season?
Uh, Admittedly, I don't know if I'll be here for the playoffs, so I may revoke my eligibility if that's a thing. Um, just really depends. I'm only part-time this season, and we've just happened to have all the races that I wanted to run, like back to back to back to back. So we'll see. I know next week I will not be here. I think y'all are at the Roval, if I remember right. So I know I will be out of town for that one.
Well, next week we're going to be finding ourselves at Michigan. The Roval is after that. So,
yeah, I will not be here for either one of those.
well, you will be missed.
I appreciate it, boys. Yeah, just nice smooth night, I guess, and avoided the trouble.
Well, congratulations on this win, Seth. An impressive run. Seeing you work your way through traffic and get finally into those lead positions to battle and hold off. Before we let you go, though, the floor is now yours for any other shout outs.
Like I was saying earlier, shout out Tiltify. I go check out the previous races and look at that scheme. Cosmin cooked. I ran the wrong scheme tonight. As much as this scheme is good looking, it was not the scheme that I was supposed to run tonight. So I appreciate everybody on the broadcast team all season. I don't know if I'll see y'all again, but we'll see how it plays out.
Well, we hope to see you again, but if we don't, Seth, thanks for the incredible memories of this season. We hope to see you out there on track shortly.
I appreciate you, boys.
Well, that will be your victor here tonight for race number 8 of the season. Going to be Seth Knoll getting it done in the 88. What a run for himself. He had some tough competition behind him. He had his teammate, which was going to be the 77 of Drew Jua behind him, which Drew had his own wars that he had to fight back and forth with other drivers. But Drew, you come away with second here tonight. Congratulations with that run. How are you feeling after this grueling war you just went through?
Yeah, that was a lot. We got some stage points tonight. Something we've kind of struggled with this season. I feel like we have the finishes, just not the stage finishes. And I feel like we played the strategy right. I wanted to try and save the tire on the bottom, but it was just with the amount of cautions, you kind of just had to go. And when we got those runs, it was a lot of fun. But we kind of made our way to the front, and we were battling with Ollie, Seth and I were, and I look back at it. On my screen initially, Ollie just completely put me into the wall. Looking back, there was really bad netcode, and we were just lucky to keep our spots after spinning off the corner. But after a certain bit on that final run, I just had no turn with the wheel damage, and kind of just was surviving in front of Shane and Thomas there, and we were able to get away with the P2.
Congratulations with the P2, especially having a little bit of wheel damage there at the end. Just like I was going to ask about, if you had anything for Seth there at the end, but with the wheel damage, probably not. But if you didn't have that, do you think you could have challenged him and maybe stole the win away from him?
It would have been tough with just how this car is. It's kind of just hard to pass, and I was being super lenient on the restarts. He was counting me down, so I wasn't gonna pass him. I was just kind of defending for him with Ollie, and once the jump restart happened, I told him I have wheel damage. I'm gonna play nice. I'm trying to hold on to P2. So um, he was flying all night. It would have been super tough to pass him. Seth is always really good, no matter where we go. So I know it's gonna be a fun battle. But first race in what, a month for me in this league. So it was glad. I'm happy to come away with a P2. So.
It was a great run to watch, Drew, as we were seeing you and your team trying your best to stay up there. We've got ourselves a Michigan, the Roval, New Hampshire. Really not the easiest tracks coming up. What's your confidence with these upcoming courses that are ahead of us?
I'm looking forward to Michigan. I haven't got to run a lot with this new car. I was out of town for 2 weeks, so I'm looking forward to see how it runs the mile and a halfs and the 2 mile tracks. But I'm not sure what it's been done for all these races, so I might actually have to put some laps in ahead of time. I know the Roval, I'll probably finish like fifth or sixth. I don't have anything for Gavin and Vincent on those tracks, so just kind of get consistent finishes these up and coming weeks before the playoffs, and if we can get a win, it'll make it a lot easier. But with missing those 2 races, I just need to put the races together, have clean, good finishes, and I'll make the playoffs. So.
I can't wait to see how you continue on this way, Drew. Before we let you go, though, the floor is now yours for any other shout outs.
Oh yeah, shout out to you guys always. Everything you guys do for everybody, and shout out to Zach and all the other admins for putting this on. Shout out to Meals for Wheels, Don't Get Hungry, and shout out to my teammates. They helped a lot tonight, and looking forward to next week at Michigan.
I'll be the 77 of Drew Jua on the Tiltify machine, coming away second. Congratulations on that run, Drew, and good luck next week at Michigan.
Thank you, guys.
As we move from second, we go down to third. We get to talk to the 9 machine of Shane Terrian. We didn't really talk about him a lot throughout the middle of this race. He was kind of in survival mode in the middle of the pack, but they're late with some of the big wrecks. Was able to gain positions, timing, and Shane Terrian comes away third at the very end. Shane, it's Sam and Richard up in the booth. You're coming away third here tonight. How are you feeling after that performance this evening?
I don't know how I got here, if I'm being honest. I think I spun twice and rear-ended somebody, but here I am. I'll take it.
Yeah, it was an impressive recovery run for yourself there, Shane, all the way up here to third. I mean, yeah, you were involved in some issues early on, but just kind of kept your nose clean late in the race, able to get around the drivers who were having issues. I mean, how scary was it being up there when some of those spins were happening and you were able to get around and not be involved in some of those big wrecks?
I mean, honestly, I was more worried if Nico made it through, because I just wanted that man to finish the race. And I even jokingly said with like 40, 50 laps to go as we were avoiding wrecks, I was like, if you finish in the top 10, I guarantee you they talk to you tonight. He's like, why do you say that? Because you finally finished the race. So, and then you guys tagged him in. So I literally just was more focused on that than myself, which is funny. I should probably just do that more often because I avoided everything for the most part.
I mean, keeping yourself distracted sometimes helps out. Shane, I mean, this has been an up and down season. Watching on how you've been trying to be up front more consistently. We've seen you in the past be contenders for the win. You're 6th in points after tonight's race. What do you feel like you need a little bit more of, as we've got 4 more races left in the regular season before the playoffs?
I guess more time. I still don't know how to run this update. I ran the bottom here, and if I ran the top, it was tight. If I ran the middle, I was fast. I don't know. This update's different. I don't know how to run Michigan. I was just talking to Seth about it. I'm just gonna need some more experience with it because I was really good at Michigan last time, but it's not gonna be the same, which kind of sucks. But we'll have to see. If I can just keep knocking out top 10s on these ovals, I'll be fine. I already got more top 10s than I did all last season.
It certainly has been more than last season with your 6 top 10 so far. Shane, before we let you go, though, the floor is now yours for any other shout outs.
I'm just going to shout out to I would team with me and Nico, and Alan and Nico for making my cars, and I guess these guys will keep letting me back. It's been fun. I'm just excited to hopefully get rid of these cars next season and go to these Gen 4s, I hope. So that's what I want.
We can't wait to get the actual announcement of what season 12's car is going to be. But Shane, for race number 8 so far, congratulations on a top 3 finish. Enjoy this one, and good luck next week as we head to Michigan.
Thank you, Sam.
As we find ourselves going to talk to Nico, like Shane kind of previewed on it, we're going to go to his teammate, 8th place finisher. It was kind of between 7th place finisher Colin Carroll and Nico, because both of them had similar stories, struggling to get their best finish of the season and coming away with his first top 10. Got stage winning points last week at Las Vegas and comes away 8th here tonight. Nico, it's Sam and Richard up in the booth. I mean, after the way last week's race ended and how this season's been, how does an 8th place finish feel for yourself?
I'll tell you what, I didn't think I'd be up in the booth tonight, that's for sure. Last week and this week, I don't know, just something with the new tire model. It just, I feel a lot more comfortable in the car. I put in a lot of time behind the wheel when the update dropped, but it's good to get a stage win last week and then get a top 10 this week. I mean, things are going in the right direction. For first half of the season was probably the worst half of a season I've ever put together in the league before. But yeah, I'm just looking to turn it around and just try to make the most out of what I can do. And I think I have some sort of pace to at least be up here. I mean, there's a lot of fast guys in this league, so I'm not going to say I got winning pace, but I definitely got pace to hopefully compete with those guys for sure.
Yeah, it was a fantastic show from you tonight, Nico. And like Sam said, a stage win last week at Vegas and top 10 here at Bristol. This tire model definitely, and this aero package seems to is played to your advantage, it seems a little bit. But with this new aero package and tire model, what race are you looking forward to before the playoffs come? And do you think you'll be able to squeak in maybe a win or enough points to make it to the playoffs?
Yeah, it's a great question. I was kind of looking at the schedule today. I'll be honest with you. Before we even came in today, I asked Shane how many drop races we had because I didn't even want to show up today. I'm just not a big. I always say I'm not a big fan of Bristol, but every time I come here, I do pretty well. But I mean, honestly, next week looks really, really good. Michigan looks awesome. Maybe even a little Chicagoland. That's my home track, so that'd be fun to run there too. But honestly, I'm just gonna try to survive, really. Just try to make it as far as I can. Just make the right calls. Don't get caught speeding on pit road. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. But other than that, I mean, next week, hopefully, I like Michigan a lot. So hopefully we can put something together there. And mile and a half, the mile and a half and 2 mile tracks have always been something I've been very comfortable with. Short track racing, I don't put a whole lot of time in. So hopefully next week we come out and put this thing, hopefully a victory lane. That'd be cool. But anything more of a top 10, I got to get some better points here before playoffs start for sure.
Yeah, with 4 races left in the regular season before the playoffs, certainly every point is crucial for you, Nico. We've seen you now racing on Monday nights and now racing also here on Wednesday nights. What is it like starting to race with all these different leagues, and what knowledge do you enjoy learning when racing with different leagues to help you get finishes like you did tonight?
Yeah, I mean, it's really just watching the fast guys, man. Vinny and John Forbes, all the guys that run up front, Talmadge, just kind of watch those guys and see what they do and just try to be as close to them as possible. You're never going to be able to mimic a guy like that. You're never going to be able to do exactly what he does because they're who they are. But trying to learn and just trying to learn the lines and see what they're doing. I think that's the real fun part. Is just learning, man. Like those guys have just so much knowledge in what they do, and they do this so much. They know just an infinite amount of stuff that that they can do with these cars, and showing up every week is just cool to I guess I would say be behind them and see what they can do. But yeah, it's really just a learning curve, man. I just started racing these next gen cars, halfway through the season last season, like iRacing official season. So I am fairly new to these cars, and they've grown on me quite a bit, but they are a handful. Like, you really got to know what you're doing, and to be fast, you have to be very smart. So just try to soak up as much knowledge as I can just by watching some of these guys and trying to implement it into what I do every day.
Well, it's been exciting to see your growth with this vehicle, Nico, and we can't wait to see the growth continue on. Congratulations on your top 10 finish in 8th. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any other shout-outs.
Awesome. Yeah. First and foremost, shout out to you guys. Put on a great broadcast like you guys do every week. I have family and friends that show up and watch, and they root me on, which is cool. Big shout out to Simrat Market. Those guys are phenomenal over there. Great group of people. Great organization there. Elwood Design Esports, Alan Elwood, allow me to put his logo on the car and do what I do every week, here at WSSR. Hopefully now I can start putting some better finishes in for them. And that's really it. That those are the people that make it happen. So big thanks to them.
Well, that'll be the 71 of Nico Garcia getting his first top 10 of the season, and we hope to see more as the season 11 continues on. Nico, congratulations on this finish, and good luck next week at Michigan.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
As we move on from our interviews here tonight, we get ready to take a look at our unofficial results. It certainly had a lot of ups and downs, but at the end of the day, it was our pole sitter that's going to find himself in victory lane. And also want to give a shout out to the Ford machine of Colin Carroll, who is going to be our Whiplash SimCam's biggest mover of the day. He was right there with Nico on who we were going to interview. Colin's going to come up 27 positions from where he started, and we saw him in so many wrecks. Oh, crazy to see him come up with a top 10 himself in his first top 10 of the season. Looking at our results here, again, pole sitter, it's going to be Seth Knoll coming away with the victory in the 88 machine. Drew Jua going to come away with second in the 77, and Shane Terrian with third. Thank you so much to Nico in our top 3 for being a part of our interviews here tonight. Thomas Green just getting past late. He'll fall down to 4th, but continuing some great momentum after his win last week at Las Vegas. Jared Talmadge, saw him get spun around. He was out there with Cody Reed on 156 lap old tires, and they both finished 5th and 6th with the gambling strategy. Great runs for themselves. Colin Carroll, again, I don't know how that 4 was still running at the end of the day, but he comes away with 7th. Nico Garcia takes 8th, with Brian McCann in 9th, and Ryan Kelly, who also had a couple of spills, they'll finish out our top 10.
Yeah, fantastic work by the top 10 there, and Justin Malarkey was able to save his race after a few early race incidents, finishing in 12th place. Bonazzi Major, another driver that was involved in quite a few incidents, in 14th. Gavin Rogers, not really having the race he was looking for, finished down to 16th. And of course, the driver we're going to have to talk about, Ali Fonseca, was doing fantastic at the end of that race, and then just jumped the restart, causing himself to go 2 laps down for a drive-through. It drops back to 22nd position after fighting for the lead. So an unfortunate situation for Ali.
And we heard it in the interviews. Seth was figuring out that Ollie was timing him, got the Ollie sneaking a little bit too early, and it takes him away from a great finish. John Forbes did not start tonight's race, so all the penalties the one had accrued last week at Las Vegas, if we see the one at Michigan next week, he will have a drive-through penalty and an end-of-the-line start of the race. That one's going to have a rough start at Michigan when he shows up, and a lot of other drivers just struggling for themselves. This has been a fun week of racing. Again, we had the BRB Bucket Kicker Cup Series on Tuesday nights. We've got the WSSR here on Wednesdays. So we're going to be back to racing action next Tuesday. Excited for it. That's when Richard and we are not in the booth. We're out on track. But Richard, it's always exciting when it's Tuesday and Wednesdays are around the corner.
Yeah, it is really exciting. It's fun to be racing with you on the track and then turn around the next day and have to broadcast a race, and it's a lot of fun. It's definitely a huge switch of momentum for ourselves coming from, the track to the booth, but it's definitely fun. We definitely, we haven't had any issues yet where we've had some incidents with each other on track and then have to be in the booth together the next day, but I'm going to hope that never happens. But no, it's really fun. Looking forward to being on the track next Tuesday, and then again, back up here calling these guys for hopefully a more green flag race at Michigan, which typically runs longer green flag races.
Yeah, re-looking at the schedule, forgot we actually have this upcoming Tuesday off, as the BRB are going to have the ladies out on track for their Powder Puff race, so we will not be covering that race. We'll be back in 2 weeks for Dover on July 15th for BRB coverage. We'll be back next Wednesday at Michigan for WSSR coverage, but tonight, Bristol, what a race. It was Lucky Ducks with a 1-2 finish. They tried to go with a 1-2-3. Did not work out, as a lot of their friends and allies were wiped out at the end of the day. But for tonight, we want to say thank you so much to everyone that joined with us. We also want to say thank you to the major sponsors that help out the WSSR Cup Series, the title sponsor of the VRS Virtual Racing School, GTR Simulators, Trophy Smack, Sim Precision Prints, and our camera providers of Whiplash Sim Cams. Remember, when purchasing your GTR simulators, use the promo code WSSR for 10% off on $100 or more purchases at gtrsimulators.com. When purchasing at Trophy Smack for all your championship trophies that you're looking for, anything from belts, rings, trophies, and also their wall smack. Remember to use the promo code WSSR Smack at checkout to earn 10% off on purchases at trophysmack.com. And finally, we want to say thank you to Sim Precision Prints. Use the promo code WSSR for 10% off on $50 or more purchases if you're looking for 3D prints for sim racing gear in one-of-a-kind pieces built with passion and precision. Thank you so much to everyone that was with us. Richard, I'm going to hand it over to you for quick final thoughts on tonight's race.
Definitely a lot to learn with this car and this update. These drivers struggled tonight. I mean, it's a tough track with a tough update for these cars. Let's hope that they can clean it up for next week, because this was a long race and a lot of yellow flag caution laps for these drivers that I'm sure they don't want to repeat.
Ready to get all this out of their system, but what will Michigan bring with the dirty air and the way these cars react next week could just be as messy as it was tonight. It's a bigger course, a half mile this evening, 2 miles next week. We cannot wait to give you the coverage of it, but for tonight, thanks so much to everyone that joined with us on your Wednesday evening. For myself, Sam Dyer, for Richard Wolsifer, for also Robert Moyer Jr. and everyone else part of the Freaky Fast Broadcasting crew. Thank you so much for joining with us on your Wednesday night, getting to see the Bristol race for race number 8 of the season. Congratulations to Seth Knoll. We don't know when he's going to be back out on track. We can't wait to see what action the other drivers are going to give to us next week at Michigan. Certainly will be a good one. Sadly, we've only got one race to call next week, and it's going to be a barn burner. You do not want to miss it. Michigan, 110 laps. Who's gonna be able to stay alive after going 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 wide? We might even go even more than that. You'll have to find out all the racing action next week, as that will be our next Freaky Fast broadcast.